Futures have erased early sharp declines to trade only slightly lower at this point this morning, following a wild overnight session that followed news on Sunday that Russian troops had been ordered into both separatist regions of eastern Ukraine as U.S. President or Russian President Putin, I should say, officially recognizes the region as independent states. That had markets sharply lower to start things off late on Sunday. Also had oil markets sharply higher, along with U.S. Treasury markets also sharply higher this morning. Oil up more than 3% at one point this morning. We'll have a look at some of the energy stocks coming up, benefiting from that move in oil. The U.S. 10-year, meanwhile, hit its highest level since 2019 early on this morning. More sanctions to come today, the first of which came out late yesterday. We'll learn more from both the UK and the US coming up this morning. It's going to be another headline-driven type of week for the overall market. Individually this morning, yeah, the truth has been set free. Digital World Acquisition Corporation, True Social, hits the App Store right on schedule on President's Day yesterday during the holiday. It was available late on Sunday. In fact, Truth DWAC shares, I should say, up 30%. Early on this morning. They are making their way back to the downside this morning. Earnings to deal with this morning. Macy's out. Home Depot out as well. Big beat for Home Depot. Good look for them. Twitter not benefiting from True Social. Twitter shares lower to start. And we'll have a look at DraftKings under pressure here. Multiple price target cuts on DKNG. It's Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022. TraderTV.live starts now. And there we go. Look at, some negative numbers, but overall well off where we started the morning. 0.5% for the NASDAQ leading the way so far. The Dow and the S&P 0.3, 0.25 to begin the week. TSX futures here in Toronto negative as well, but only just. Brazil's open trading higher. Yeah, crude back to 2.9. It was 3.5 when I first sat down this morning. Bitcoin back to the upside. It's been a rough ride, a rough weekend anyways for crypto markets on these Russia-Ukraine headlines. So let's get into it, guys, because it's going to be a fun week. Good morning. Tuesday. It's back at it here after the long weekend. Hope everyone enjoyed the long weekend. Family Day here in Canada. President's Day, obviously, south of the border. And it's True Social Day right across the board. Big gain for DWAC here, guys.
Yeah, you speak in pure truth. It's going to be a lot of fun, obviously. And look, we always sort of say this at the beginning when we trade these names. Welcome. It's Tuesday. I'm not going to say Monday once today, but yeah, watch out for fund where CFVI are going to move to. We know if in case of halts, there are warrants involved as well that we can definitely be able to trade. But yeah, holiday shortened week. There's no chance it's going to be short of action. That's for sure, because whether it's the earnings that we're going to have this week to sort of round things out, Macy's already in the move, Home Depot getting crushed a little bit here, or shellacked a little bit, and DWAC, which has already had a huge range. I mean, it's up 16%, but wow, DWAC is actually given back, since I sat down, like 15, 16 bucks, and even more from earlier in the pre-market. So, we got a lot to get to here, of course, what's going on in the Ukraine, moving energy markets, and some of the chip names as well. So, time to buckle up.
Yeah, there's always something going on. Macy's with good reports. Obviously, we'll watch Russia. You mentioned DWAC. I haven't even really looked at DWAC or CFVI. I'm already in to Macy's here today, and Facebook's at 200 bucks. I mean, there's lots of stuff happening. There's lots of key levels. And then, of course, oil ripping, I think 93, 94 bucks. We'll check out what that's going to be moving, obviously, on some news here as the Kremlin and Ukraine and all this stuff just continues to get intensified. I don't know. I mean, sometimes you get stories of this, stories of that. The market was getting killed earlier on this morning. Last night when I went to bed, I mean, the Hang Seng and the Japanese were down like 2 or 3%.
Yeah. We're way higher now.
Yeah, and now we're back up. We're almost trying to go. We're trying to go flat here. NASDAQ only down 0.5%, Brendan. So I think we can test green, and then we'll see what happens there. But still a little bit of work to be done before we get back to green.
Yeah, I was reading late yesterday. The Russian market opened yesterday down the equivalent of a 3,500 point decline for the Dow. So the equivalent move there after those headlines came out over the weekend. So yeah, going to be another interesting week. Let's jump right into it. We'll bring in Miss V, ready to go. Good morning.
Good morning, team. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a great weekend and ready for a productive week. Please smash the like button and let's get it started, Brendan.
Yep, let's get it started. Lots to discuss here as we head towards the open this morning. Under an hour to go. Here is the big headline that happened, I guess, late on Sunday, talking about Trump's Truth Social. I mean, we had multiple reports and multiple quotes, in fact, from this company saying that it had been pushed back to, they were saying the end of March, but right on schedule here after a bit of a head fake. Truth Social available for download was the top download, in fact, both Sunday and Monday, and now into Tuesday as well for Digital World Acquisition Corporation, guys.
Yeah, well, we had a bit of a master plan to get one of the iPhone users around here to get in the App Store and get a quick look at it. I don't think any of us really have one to be able to check the app.
It's only on iPhone?
It's only on the app. It's only in the Apple.
So why didn't you
download?
So did they download it?
Well, they couldn't find it. So here's the thing. It's
probably only
supposed to be
Canada.
available. We thought it was supposed to be in Canada because on the site it does say it's there. But I want to get a look at it. Obviously, everyone wants to get a look at it. There was the story that it was going to be delayed, but hey, President's Day. Make it happen. It's too big of a headline not to do something like that. Since retail came in, it's basically been selling off. And as we mentioned, you want to make sure you're tracking Funware, CFVI as well. Whether or not it's going to have as crazy a run as when this was first announced, I seriously doubt it. Just because you're very unlikely to have like lightning strike twice. I know sometimes you get it with those squeeze plays, but there were multiple halts to the upside. You guys, everyone remembers in a couple of days you went from your SPAC price all the way up to I think 180 or 170, 180 was going to be that high. So today, those post-market highs or those pre-market highs of 120, 130, that range seems pretty reasonable as long as it doesn't try to fill the gap back in. And you can sometimes throw out the levels. But the only thing that stands out to me is the gap is all the way down to 85, 87. We know that's where there was some price acceptance before, so I definitely like that price area if it were to fill an entire gap, and holding above 100 would be a pretty big deal. Again, we haven't had a look at it, but this is the catalyst everyone's been waiting for, and then that first step. So we'll see how many by the end of the day or by the end of the week, how many actual people have gotten on this bad boy, and hopefully we'll get to take a look at it ourselves.
Yeah, I just saw something called Trump MAGA or something, but I guess that was just something else. No, there is something on the Android, but it says truth, but I just don't know if
it's probably something fake that someone put up there.
That's what it is. That's what I'm probably sure of it being something like that. Okay, right here, Macy's, though, a big win for us here on Macy's, obviously, as you can see right now. That's starting to kick it up another notch here. Macy's up 6%, and we just hit that long down here at 26.80. Bang, bang, bang. Big win for me already on Macy's. This is the #1 name on my board. We'll get to it, but I just got to pay for shorts right now for MAGA, so we'll wait to see if DWAC can get us.
I think 37 cents.
Okay, that's fine. Look at this. Look at this. All the way up to 30. Right, big win here for Macy's anyways as we go, guys. We'll talk about that coming up as it's on our watch list. I just got to log into our software here.
It's worth noting, guys, as well, all these other stocks that have been moving around with DWAC over the past months, also very active here this morning. Here's Funware, PHUN, up sharply. It's actually doing more volume than any of them right now. They're all kind of looking like this, though, moving back to the downside. CFVI, obviously the Rumble SPAC, worth a look as well. So not only DWAC going to be benefiting from this, but 9% move here for Funware on decent volume. So it's going to be a matter of picking your spot, I think, and finding the one that provides the best opportunity.
No, absolutely. I think if you crave liquidity in a certain style of trade, then Funware is going to be that's going to be your jam, because you're going to get a 1 cent spread pretty much the entire time. You're going to get plenty of liquidity to take more shares. We know DWAC, even when it's doing volume, like right now, the 50-cent spread on DWAC, 70-cent spread as I look at it, sometimes even as much as $1. That's just not going to happen to Fun. But
DWAC 9 cents a share.
What? Oh, the price came down. Okay. Of course, when I paid for it, it was 37 cents a share, and now it's 9 cents a share, going the other direction. Sean talking about the locates. Funware was, I think, 1 cent or something ridiculously cheap. But this is the one that I feel like if you're going to fade it, as DWAC breaks key levels, you're probably going to be able to get some shorts on fun. It never broke. This actually didn't break out from last week's range, despite this news, and you're already seeing start to come back in. So relatively speaking, it's obviously relatively weak, as you can see here, and that might be giving you a little bit more cover. If you want to trade something which might be less calm or more calm, I suppose is the best way to think about it, then Funware might be the way to go there. I'm very, very likely to be involved in this one. As there's a spike to the top that can be faded, and I'll be looking at that pre-market high. So a turn in DWAC, if it were to bounce to the upside at the open, I'd be looking to see if you can catch like a 385, 390 and retest some of those highs. First things first, DWAC would have to reclaim 100, which it's having some trouble doing.
This is incredible. Yeah, I just interrupted Neil there because you were mentioning 37 cents. Yeah, so now only 9 cents per here. Look, you're going to be looking at $100 all day long here on DWAC, so I think that's something that you're going to just watch, see if that can hit again. It was a key price back and forth, and every time a stock gets to $100. And I know this is kind of the first time DWAC's got there. I know that there was. Oh my God. Okay, here we go. Macy's just taking off right now. Nicely done to the upside. But DWAC right now, this is really the first time we've kind of danced around $100. We had the couple days where we were going nuts there when it was first announced as a SPAC. But remember, this is still the SPAC. It's going to turn. I don't even know what the symbol is going to be. But it's going to turn over at some point. You still have that $100. We bounced off there. I think it's a punch through 100, and then I think if you can get out 104, 105, something like that, you're doing pretty good here on DWAC. But just watch out for the Truth Social. I've always said, and it's just because there hasn't been the move yet, but what about Rumble? I mean, honestly, if they're going to be the video, the choice for video player on the Truth Social, or this is where they're going to post up and be part of the environment on the media side of things, then why not check out Rumble as well today? This move not as exaggerated as any of the other ones, only up 2%. I think Funware is up more than 2%, I would think. I didn't look at that yet, but 10%, yeah. So only 160,000 shares on CFVI, but I think that's sort of a sleeping giant here as well, CFVI.
The other thing we should mention, guys, Twitter to the downside on this news as well. So not a lot of volume for Twitter, but down about 2% as well on the Truth headline. A couple of notable earnings to get to this morning as well. Again, volume kind of low on both of these, but worth a note. Once we get closer to the open, maybe we'll have another look at both Home Depot and this one, Krispy Kreme, out with a decent report and guidance, higher than expected. So D-Nut moving around here in the pre-market, and then Home Depot beats right across the board as well, but down on HD.
Yeah, so, I mean, look, Home Depot's a disappointment.
Right now,
Krispy Kreme's basically flat, but I was just actually talking with Goldman in the chat there, and he's like, yeah, you're looking at a Home Depot short. Well, I think last week we mentioned that January low of 342.60. Home Depot's done less than 100,000 shares in the pre-market, so it does make it quite difficult to look at a break of that level. But it got taken out about 8 o'clock or so on really light volume, and it's been falling ever since on that light volume. So it'll look pretty messy if you're on your 1 minute chart, but on your daily, that 342.5 or so, that's that key level on the daily chart. I think that's where I'd want to be putting that fade in. It's so much more about the momentum right now for some of these than anything else. Like, it needs to get back above that price. Otherwise, I think the price being like 342, that 345 area, so you can maybe climb back to the 200 period. Otherwise, I think you're headed back into where there was the most acceptance in a while, and that's down around those quarters to 30. So you head down that range, I think it can be a bit of a long. It's not that it was a disappointing or I think it's going to be a bad stock. It's just obviously under a little bit of momentum pressure here as does head back southbound.
Yeah, we talked about Home Depot, and I said that definitely I wouldn't be a buyer of this name before the earnings. We talked about this on Friday, and it's just, I like the stock. There's no doubt about that. It's just the environment that it's in right now with supply becoming an issue, getting products, getting your hands on said merchandise. That's going to be a little bit of a problem. And then, of course, we do have interest rates changing, mortgages, things like that coming through. Maybe some people being a little bit less excited to do, renovations on their house, possibly. I don't, these are just little theories here. But every stock pretty much like, it's funny because you look at some studies and the S&P 500, it's actually outpacing the beats. Like, the beats are huge. It's the guidance, it's the uncertainty, it's the environment that we're in. We're going to look at DraftKings in a minute here that can't get out of its own way. But Home Depot, again, just another name, a solid producer, but it needs to find a footing. And I think that footing comes, unfortunately, 10% lower, near 300. Do I think it's going down 10%? No. But, I think that's somewhere where you start to use that word nibble, like we keep talking about it. You don't want to push all your chips in at any stage right now. But I think with the Ukraine stuff coming to an end, like, that really shouldn't affect Home Depot too much. Some supply chain issues, as those get resolved, I think Home Depot is a winner. So you know what? I like the name. We have Lowe's coming soon. Home Depot should work. For me, I'm not going to trade it today. It's a $300 name, which doesn't scare me. It's just the moves. I don't really trade it during the day, but I think that if you are a long-term shareholder on Home Depot, pause for concern for sure, because they normally beat. But remember, man, like, on most earnings days, these big, huge companies, it's hard to get them moving. It's hard for, like, a staple like Home Depot to come out and change the game. I mean, it's just, we already know what they're doing. The market should be down today. I mean, we're rallying a little bit, but I figure it'll be down today. Let's see if Home Depot can catch a bid somewhere. I don't see why it can't happen at 3:30.
Let's go on to energy markets here. Worth having a look at some oil stocks this morning with crude oil. I was just checking. It's J we're on now for oil. Way more volume than K and any of the other ones. Anyways, we're up here more than 3% initially this morning on the open, but 2.8 for crude oil this morning, guys. The highest level since 2014 on these further Russian-Ukraine developments.
So, I mean, I guess what everyone's sort of concerned with is what happens next, right? So if this escalates further, I think it gets a little bit more serious. If it's just the two provinces that we currently see, somewhat of a manageable situation, and if nothing happens next couple of days, maybe we'll get a bit of a pullback. A lot of times, like, the buildup is worse than, I'm talking about the markets here, the buildup ends up a little bit worse than the reality. So I could see us putting in at least a temp top if we don't get any further bad headlines in the next day or two. I mean, I say that with a grain of salt because we probably will get some more headlines that are going to scare that market. But I wouldn't be terribly surprised. I mean, you already have a bit of a double top forming. A lot of these names are, energy names are very outstretched. And one thing that I know we haven't talked about, and it's on our watch list, is we'll get into it, is, look, this is more pressure on the supply chains for some of the chip makers because, whether it's palladium or certain other materials, those are now going to be under threat as well. So you have all of this contagion, or whatever the word might be, spillover to the U.S. markets is going to be real for us. So we do have to keep our ear to the ground. We've seen what those headlines can do time and time again here. I'd be surprised if, at least on the first day, like Sean said, that we were able to go green today. That would be a bit of a shock. But yeah, certainly this week, finding some kind of a pullback in oil, as long as you don't get any further escalation, would make a lot of sense to me. If you look at historically, when there was the last, and then we'll think just after Sochi, actually, the markets actually were down, and then they rebounded the next day or two after that. So I'd kind of just look to history to say maybe it'll repeat itself.
Yeah, look, I got into the ZEO, which is an oil and gas product here by Bank of Montreal in Canada. And we got into this, the 50s, maybe low 50s here. We talked about when we did it. Shout out to Goldman as well, as he seems to be the only one talking about oil and gas all the time. And that today is going to open up at $56, which is an all-time high for this name. Very similar, guys. I just had U.S. cash, or just had Canadian cash lying around. But similar to XLE today, look, $69. We're right back at, again, a little bit of a different product, but right back at the same levels one more time here for XLE. So yeah, as this keeps going, man, these products, these ETFs, and names like XOM. I mean, XOM, guys, is rocking as well. What was that, 78 today, did I see? Yeah, $79 for XOM. I mean, we were just talking about this thing in the 50s and in the 60s. There hasn't been I mean, look, Chevron's been great. Any of these names have been quite fantastic, to be honest with you. But as my chart won't load, I can't show it to you. But XOM, a monster, CVX, a monster. And I don't even think it's time to pair these off, man. I think you stay the course with a lot of these names, and at some point I'll be able to show you my chart.
I was having that issue earlier this morning, John. A few deals to talk about this morning as well. Deal making, I almost said Monday, it's Tuesday. TGNA, there's a deal for HMHC as well is also a buyout this morning. So a bit of a merger Tuesday, Neil. There's a couple of people talking about a few of these. You want to touch on those a bit?
So, TGNA, $24 cash. HC, that's $21 in cash. And this last one, I think it's like Cummins is buying Meritor. That's like hold on a second, I know this. MTOR, and that's $36.50 cash. The only one actually doing volume that actually matters to anybody is HC. But if you're not, look, we sort of say this over and over again, if you're not actually spread trading or can catch, let's load up here. If spread trading or can catch a bit of a rebate, forget about it. Like, this is it. Barcoding. It's likely to barcode for the most of the day. If it makes a run at 21, things get interesting because that would be the deal price, and that's HC. So look, on these deals, what you're looking for as a momentum trader is if there's a huge spread. If this thing was somehow trading at 20, 30, that would provide you with some opportunities because there's deal risk involved. The fact that the last few deals here that have not been initiated by sort of big cap tech, they're trading with tight spreads, they're closing faster because the deal risk is on the side of when big tech or large companies, super large companies are making their acquisitions. So I really don't see too much here that should concern us. But yeah, like if I see anything, definitely will be interesting. I'll let you guys know if there's a move. ATVI was such a different beast, and we're not likely to see too many of those types of trades.
A bunch of random names here. And by random, I mean lots of names that will trade on the up and down the earnings board today. No, upgrades and downgrades, sorry. I just want to talk about, I was just thinking about earnings here with Macy's. We just took another piece out here. We're 60, 70 cents in the money on Macy's right now. So the number one name, again, on the sticky note, go to at Trader TV, Sean. Check it out. It's Macy's. It's all about that love. So let's see if it can eventually pull back. Before we go to Brendan quickly, I haven't even looked at this yet. The imbalance locator. Ooh, Pfizer. Yeah, that should be on my board at some point today. Pfizer is at near, yeah, okay, I was going to say near 48. It's sub 48 right now. Ford as well, 17, 18 bucks here on Ford, but they're all over the list today. So let's see, hold our breath on some of these names. We love trading Ford, and it's right near that price that we like, man, 18 bucks. So we're ready to rock and roll. And one name that does not surprise me is at the top of that downgrade list, also on said sticky note today, Brendo.
All right, yeah, a few notable names. Top of the upside, AMD. It's worth noting all of the chip makers under pressure anyways a little bit. This has gone positive, as you see, but we'll talk about that coming up. Cisco here, not that Cisco, but the other one. Datadog and Hilton. Yeah, DraftKings, very negative. There was 4 or 5 or 6 even price target cuts on DraftKings today. Rocket Companies, Walmart, and eBay, guys.
Yeah, we never talk about the other Cisco, but solid name there, and obviously in the space that should matter to everybody. But yeah, AMD, we sort of alluded to it a little bit. Some of the chip makers under some pressure today. Well, the one that's not is AMD on the height of that downgrade. So good for them. They're actually up 1%. I don't know that I saw anybody else that was trading to the upside. Look, they were pretty much all down so far this morning, and AMD showing some relative strength there, which is worthwhile because we're right at that 200 period, which has been a pretty interesting line in the sand for AMD. And I know sometimes you look at these metrics like a 200 period. It's not like we're bouncing off of it exactly for AMD, but it is respecting this level trend-wise. So what I'd be looking for in the next couple of days is, can it actually manage to not close below that 200 period? And if that's going to happen, I think a break back out to that, past that 120 mark, which has been a bit of a, 120, 121, been a bit of a roof. That could be underway here, but it's been sort of timid trading back and forth off that 200. It's time to see if it can break away from that price. We'll see if it can do that today. It's the relatively strong one. So if you're, Micron was last week or 2 weeks ago when it was relatively strong. I feel like AMD is showing you that face. So the longs for me in the chip space will be on AMD today. And maybe if we fall to the downside, then I'd be looking to other names.
Yeah, I was just, again, I had to restart my charts here, but yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it loads up Roku. I like the 110, and again, this is on the sticky note here today. I'll show it to you guys. We already talked about Macy's 62 cents in the money, bless you, off the sticky, oops, that's the wrong chart, off the sticky note today, but here's AMD, and I think it's pretty clear, man. There's support at that 110. We'll test it. We'll see if it can hold it through, but we don't want to hold it through that 110. If it breaks 110 to the downside, then obviously this market is somewhat broken here today, and we've held it the last couple days, we did dip down to 107, and that's really, I think that was that today? That might have been a mistake print today. Yeah, that looks like that was, or no, that could have been, yeah, that was today, so bad print. So yeah, we haven't dipped down below 110, but I do fear that if we do, then it's a problem down to 105. So we're gonna try to hold it right on that 200 period is 112. I like the 110 look, so we'll see if that comes through. I mean, we're way up now. We're at 115, so no problem there. But remember, the market could go back down to that -2% where we've already been at today. And if that does happen, then yeah, we do want to cash in a little bit here on Macy's, on AMD to the long side at 110.
A couple other pretty impressive moves that continue along here, guys, in the PayPal and Square worlds, both down significantly again today, 1.5 here. For PayPal, but the higher time frame tells the story. That's PayPal. Flip over and show you Square. There we go. Same story, just straight to the downside. Like $94 now on Square. Unreal.
Yeah, and look, we already had, it already happened at 100 on Square several times. It's giving you some good trades off of that level. And again, we're talking day trades and scalps off that 100, not about like, hey, defend it for life and then hold it forever. Certainly, if your time frame's long enough, it's not unreasonable. But just remember, Block hasn't reported yet. And we got the PayPal report. They already got crushed. We're heading down to 100. It looks like almost inevitably today, although at least a little bit of a consolidation. There's a lot of these wicks. So I have a 99.99 print on this stock. It obviously never went down there. But I'm going to be bidding in front of 100 just to look to see if we can catch that bounce. But I remember what happened when Square came down there the first time and even the second time. You had to give a little room, like whether it's an extra 10, 15 cents, 20, 30, even like 50 cents. Just give it some more room, just in case it breaks the level, stop some people out, and then the bounce off of a 100 level does happen. But it's a big psychological one. I've seen it. There's just so many names that have bounced off round numbers like this in this market that it makes some sense. I remember 08 was a very similar year as well during the financial crisis. On the way down, there were sometimes just obvious defensible levels, and especially when some stocks get run at those prices, there's some good day trades to be had. So, yep, I'll be on the bid in front of PayPal at 100, which we said pretty much every day since it broke 110. We're waiting for 100 on PayPal.
I mean, I think that there's a few names that are oversold here, and I mean, in the market, there's a lot of names, but high quality names. I mean, I think you got to put PayPal, and then you got to put Square in that basket. I mean, look, you're gonna hear me always talk about Palantir. I think that's another name that goes into that basket a little bit, and then maybe a Roku or something. But these are all high value, high growth names, high valuation names that just continue to get beat down. Square, there was really no love at the 100. You're gonna open up today and just see a disaster of a print coming off the open. Like, you're down 3.5%. You're well below right now. The 20-minute range, I mean, we held it on, I guess this was now Friday. Like we said, I'm going to keep screwing up the days here. But we held 98 pretty good all day, hoping that today maybe you'd come in and see north of 100. But no, the other way around. It goes down $3. So, yeah, not good, man. Anybody holding that Square position, thinking that 100 was a key level, I mean, it looks like you're going to have to go a little lower than that. I mean, Jack Dorsey's over there right now trying to right the ship. Obviously, you see Bitcoin, you see a lot of cryptos right now starting to crash down to the downside, including, like Ethereum's at 2,600. Bitcoin BTC is at 37.9 right now, and I'll refresh these to see where we're going. But crypto definitely getting hit. That's not going to help an app like Square and PayPal that have put money in to develop that side of their platform. So, yep, not a good sign here for these companies. I'm in both of them and really not adding to anything at this point. I just feel like these are stories that you're going to have to hold on to, and probably, honestly, I don't think it's that unheard of to say you're not going to see those levels that they touched only 7-8 months ago. I don't think you're going to see those levels maybe for years, guys, on some of these stocks.
Let's bring in Arun here, get a check of the overall market, understand a little bit about what we need to know when it comes to the futures today. Wild session, as we were talking overnight, Arun, this morning. But here we are, right back to basically where we ended the day on Friday.
Yeah, there's been quite the ride, but here we are kind of continuing it from Friday, even though here we are on Tuesday, right? There's been a lot of ups and downs, and the markets has respect to some key levels here. I think on Friday, we were looking at 43.15. In the afternoon show, someone was asking me about that level. 43.15 was the level I had. Now, that was in play pretty much until Monday, I guess the short session on Monday, but then we dropped right through that, and we went right to the next level, which is 42.50. So we've got two levels left on the bottom side for support, 4250 and 4200. Now we've respected 4250, nice little bounce up, but on the way down, we've created some, I guess, overhead resistance levels that we can play with. We've got 4400, or sorry, I've got 4410 as the actual level, 4410 up top, and then I've got 4500 past that. So 2 levels above 4500 and then 4410. Given where we are now, there is a potential for a long setup as well, using 43.10 as well. If we can get the setup would have to work out like, well, at least the way I'm looking at it, it'd have to work out like this. We'd have to break through about 30, start to find some rotation and some strength into the mid-20s, 43.20 or so. As long as we can get a setup there, then the long is still valid. Of course, at this point, given that we're coming back from a long weekend, you got to wait until the open. The open is going to be dictating how well this market wants to respond to everything that it's missed since the Friday close, right? So, and I mean, the holiday shortened session from yesterday as well. But we're going to wait for the open. If we can get that set up, we can get the volume down there in the mid-20s. There could be a long there against the 10s. So 43.20-ish against 43.10 as a stop. If we lose 43.10, you got to see what's down below, closer to 42.50. Of course, if there's a support there, you use it against 42.50. If you don't, or if there's no support, you let it go. Look for the break of 42.50, and then you play the short side there. If we were to run up, as soon as we cross 43.70, I'm going to start looking for some potential fades. If we need the setup, it's going to be critical, especially in this market, to get the setup before you take the trade. So anything north of 43.70 that sets up, you got potential short there against the 44.10. So those are the scenarios that you can potentially deal with after the market opens. But again, this market has been quite crazy. I'm noticing that crude is also up 2.7%. So there's a lot of different markets you can kind of play with and pick and choose where the setups are. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the futures market or the S&P or the NASDAQ futures. There are other indexes like the crude that are moving. So we can definitely pick and choose where we are. But this should be interesting and exciting to start the week off.
So thanks, Arun. We'll check back in again tomorrow. Definitely a headline-driven type of market right now. So as Arun was saying, pick and choose your spots carefully here. Let's get into the watch list, guys. Lots to understand as we head towards the open this morning. That is the link to the watch list. We send it out every single morning, absolutely free. Ask Miss V in the chat very nicely, and she will help you out with that link if you do want that. Let's go to Digital World Acquisition Corporation. Talked about it a little bit there, but let's get into it a little bit in depth. Maybe you can look at PHUN, CFVI, as we said, also moving around. There's Twitter as well, guys, to the downside on this. And again, if you missed it, True Social making its debut in the Apple App Store. It was actually Sunday, late on Sunday night, right on schedule, as they initially said on President's Day.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's right on schedule. So they throw it out there that the delay, just to throw a wrench in there, and then the obvious happens. So I'm going to start by looking at Twitter, if only because $34 was last week's low, and then you have a pre-market high right at 34 on Twitter. I mean, it's down, sort of getting beaten up, and this was a good support level previously. Whether it turns into resistance, I think I want to try that at the open. But the real story here is going to be DWAC. Obviously, that goes without saying. It's a monster move up. I don't think there's any real key levels on this unless you start talking about 120, 125, 130 to the upside. 100 is going to stand out. The only other thing that will be on my watch is when retail came in at 7 a.m., which is one of the larger spikes in volume that we get each morning. This was trading at about 108 and then spiked immediately to test 100. So looking at that type of a range, 100 gets taken out to the upside, I'm going to look right back up to that 108, 109 that it was at 7 o'clock. Because if it put in that kind of move when volume came in, I can imagine there might be some sort of temp sellers in there that'll be looking for like 7, 8s, and 9s as outs if it catches any bounce. Filling in the entire gap, like I said earlier, was about $85 or so, and then the top end of the range for a while has just been this 85 to 87, and then that one spike up here. I think you can write these prices away and just say if it gets anywhere near that cluster of support, how could it not possibly find a bottom in that range? 85 to 87 was a good area of resistance before. It gets into that price. I think it just has to be a buy at a technical point. And I don't know if we said anything, Sean, but you might be able to hear a little bit of noise behind us. Hopefully you can, because we have our first two traders back on the floor. So hopefully at some point we'll get them to say what's up. I know Luca's hanging around there a little bit as well, and Brandon. So we have two back, hopefully the first two of many.
That dude's name is Brandon?
Yeah, he's new.
Great. Okay, so
I know, right?
yeah, exactly. All right, so we'll see here. Yeah, we got new traders coming through as well. My kid will probably come through as well soon. Okay, right here, Macy's just dropped down, so we did take another reload on Macy's. So we'll see about that one right now. And we've had diamond hands on this name, but there it is, another drop down in for Macy's. So again, a couple outs up here in the mid 27s. Actually, our best out was 46, but there it is. We take another one here for Macy's. Into the long, another trade right there. Look, I already have my order in, and Neil mentioned some key levels there. I don't think there's anything more key than 100, and I don't think you need to worry about anything other than 100. So we'll just continue to look at that. Ooh, I'm going to get some out here if I can here on a nice, yes, sir, Macy's, a nice little pop up there if we can get some 99s off of it. Just got long 85 there again. Okay, so DWAC, I put the order in already to go long at 100. I mean, I think this is a no-brainer trade. You take the long and you just see where it goes from there. It could easily hit and then dump right back down. So this is not something that we're like, hey, I'm willing to lose my whole day on this. No, you're not, okay? So let's just chill out on this. We'll see what happens here moving through. But for me, I like this play coming out, and let's just see what happens now with DWAC, hopefully. Touches 100. We'll see if it wants to break up higher. If it does, I've already identified the 103, 104 area there. You know, this name's gone crazy before. What, it went to 180 the last time we had major news on it, which was the day where it was announced, you know, what they were going to be doing, up to 180. So look, it's a beautiful move to the upside. Unfortunately, that crystal ball that our friend Prad keeps talking about, I don't own that. So I'm not sure what this will go to today. But I want to be part of it if it touches 100. So I'm already crossed up to $100.50. I think you got to at least do a 50-cent spread there. We'll take it long, and then we'll see where it comes back out. So it's going to be a very, very simple, easy trade for me, and it's DWAC.
All right, let's go to Macy's. We mentioned Home Depot also reporting in the retail space, but Macy's with a big beat for their holiday quarter right across the board. It was actually the biggest sales number reported by any retailer for the holidays coming from Macy's, guys. So nicely up here.
Yeah, man, you beat, raise, also dividend, and buyback. It's like, I don't know what you call that, but like we should come up with a name for it. But and throw on top of that, remember Macy's, of course, has that short interest, not as big as it used to be, but it's been able to squeeze before. Look, I had two numbers written down. One of them I can show you in the daily chart. That's 28.5. We're nowhere near 28.5 for the potential break of that level, or maybe if it turns around, a fade off of that level. The only other one was going to be 26.5. And I just went right back to this double top lower high. Like on a dime, this thing was turning around at 26.50. So there's a place that I'm going to be picking up. It was going to be in that range. Too messy in and around these prices. From there to about 27, kind of a wide range. Split that in the middle and you get 75. So you know that's where I like the long in. If it breaks 26.50, I think you've got support $1 lower. So I'm not going to be stubborn about that. Just sort of battle back into it if it manages to get below $26, because I think that's obvious support. It's hard to imagine. I understand the market might come back in here because of some of the other concerns that we have, but you throw everything that Macy's had in this report, and it's hard to imagine a way that we're going to go negative on the stock today. I don't think it's a Home Depot situation. It's got a few more things going for it, momentum-wise, that would make it difficult, I think, to trade below that 26. If it does, I'll be out of this long for sure at 26.5 and looking for another down around. I guess that'd be Friday's afternoon highs or lows.
Yeah, look, if this goes down to 26, then I'm going to be shut down. I mean, this is going to be, I'm trying to use better, bigger shares. I'm already into way more shares than I normally trade here in the pre-market. I've already hit this very aggressively. It's already a big stock for me today. We're sitting here trying to get some more out of this name as it just continues to rip to the upside, man. I mean, I don't know. I didn't even get my full fill down here at 85. We only got part filled, but we actually got 80% of what we wanted. So there it goes. I mean, look at this. Look how we're just crushing this name continuously over and over again. So yeah, to me, it's an easy one. It's the #1 name on my list. So we're just going to keep on hitting it today. Macy's. I mean, look, EPS beat, revenue beat. They're not spinning off their e-commerce. To me, that's another catalyst to the upside. They're not doing it, right? So I think that you could get some more pushback that you know, the funds might want them, the activists might want them to push that higher. So I think that's another reason to go long. And I love the 28 long. The support's back at 26. So hell yeah, we're going to be long 26.80 over and over and over again, as much as we can. Right here, 26 into here, some chop. Obviously, if we get back to 25, that's great as well. But yeah, we won't take any more shares now off open. We've already got in and out of this a couple times. But you do have, where's my daily chart on this just to show you? This is 28, man. We're bouncing off 28 a couple times. The high, though, has been like 28.30, 28.40. So it's definitely something to take in consideration. If I can get these out now at 28 bucks, we'll be pretty happy with that one. Let's just take a quick look. It's only 9:10. Still so much time left. Open this damn market up. Bank of America, they're not even on here, Macy's. So again, that's kind of strange. I thought they'd be on here for sure. As a New York imbalance, I don't see them. But look what I do see. Every single name here is a sell except for XOM. So yeah, obviously RIG as well. All the oil names seem to be buys. Everything else is a sell today on the imbalance locator. So that's always a little bit of a pause for concern, but let's see what happens off the open space. What is that? Sub 10? Yeah, eight bucks. Wow. Virgin Galactic, $8 today. I don't know if we've seen it that low in a very, very long time. I don't even know what it IPO'd at, but $8 seems to be pretty low for that one. Yeah, it's a SPAC. Yeah, so $8. We'll have to check it out, guys. But back over to you, Brendo.
Well, yeah, if you're not a...
Hey team, I remind you to like this video. Sorry, Brenton.
No, go for it.
First things first, guys. Please help us to get at least 1,000 likes before the opening bell. And now let's continue with the watch list, Brendan.
I was getting so excited there about energy stocks. If you're not an energy stock, it's not a good day. But I apologize, Miss V. My bad. Let's go on to SoFi. Very active here in the pre-market, already 1.2 or 1.5 million shares, 4% to the downside. We're basically at lows once again. If you go to the daily chart, they picked up this Technisys on a $1.1 billion deal. So SoFi going shopping here to start off the week.
Yeah, they're spending that cash. Well, they're not spending cash. It's an all-stock deal. I shouldn't say they're spending cash because it's actually an all-stock deal. So they're diluting shares to the tone of $1.1 billion. Obviously, you have that January, I think it's like the 27th or 28th was that bottom on about 1050 or so. That looms large here. Look, it's going to be a fade today on that news, at least for me, off of Friday's lows. That's at about 1120. So the old pop and fade idea off 1120 to 1125 is in play. I'm going to be on the bid to defend 1050 just because you get that level on a SoFi, maybe to a smaller, to an extent, a Palantir as well when they trade this way. You get those even levels, 10s, 50s, and if they line up on a daily chart, you get some size in there and it's a scalp trade. So I want to be doing that in front of 1050 if I can, but the overall play is pop and fade off of Friday's lows and the current pre-market highs here. You know, spending, it's whether or not you think this is a good acquisition for them in the long term. We're here talking about the short term and the day trade. So, you know, the reaction usually when an all-stock deal, especially in this environment, is you're going to have some pressure on you. The market likely to put some pressure as well. So for me, it's going to be a fade. It doesn't necessarily mean that I think the deal is a bad one. I actually couldn't tell you with any confidence whether I think it's a good or bad deal. It's just about the all-stock aspect of it.
Yeah, I know nothing about the deal, but I mean, I don't know if they should be spending money, diluting stock, diluting anything here right now, but SoFi just continues to get beat down, man. I mean, as a shareholder, obviously you're pissed off anytime that they do something like this because it just means a longer horizon now that you're going to have to wait because now they're going to have to figure out what exactly, I mean, what was it? It was a, they're going to have to accrue this into their earnings and into their stock now because this is going to be another hit for them. $1.1 billion deal. Yeah, aim to build one-stop shop, right? So right now, let's aim to build some more customer base first, and then we'll try to figure this out. Digital banking platform. Like I already thought that they sort of had that kind of figured out themselves. Now they got to spend $1.1 billion to get this. To me, this is not good, man. Like honestly, they've been disappointing everybody. I've already talked about DraftKings. Well, we're going to talk about DraftKings, but I mean, that sell up there at 60 was honestly like a hero sale for me. I tried to get out of SoFi in the 20s as well. You guys know about that. Missed all of those prices, which is embarrassing. And now you're down here to 11. And honestly, you're ticking lower and lower and lower here on SoFi. I mean, $10, it just reminds you of Palantir and all these other stocks, right? Like just these beat down stocks that are trying to do something. Like Palantir got a deal today. It's down the same kind of percentage. So, I mean, we'll wait to see. $10, definitely something to look at. But for me, yeah, SoFi, anything up here is a big sell. Look, nothing's changed, right? I mean, forget about Russia, forget about everything. We still have the Fed, we still have tightening, we still have the interest rate's going to be a problem. In March, they're going up at least 2 basis points, so 50 points. We're looking at that. That's under a month away, guys. Brennan, it's ticking, man. Under a month away until we are figuring out what the heck the Fed is going to do, which we think is already that 50 points. So that's not good for SoFi. It's not good for any of these growth stocks. I continue to try to be short all of these. And on my list, the number 3 stock, and I think we'll get to it at some point, is going to be DraftKings. And if we don't, that's the name that I definitely want to be short at some point today.
I want to make sure we get to DraftKings quickly. NVCT, Neil, you're asking about this, up on positive data on a breast cancer treatment that they're working on. So a heads up on that. Remember, this is 6 million shares. So NVCT, one of those crazy low float stocks that went nuts last week, if you were with us last week. So heads up on NVCT. Oil stocks, we talked about a little bit. Let's go to the chip market, or chip maker market, with these new tensions between Russia and Ukraine. A lot of analysts suggesting that these chip makers, especially in the Asian region and China, get a lot of the materials they use for chips from Russia. So more sanctions on Russia could mean they would retaliate by limiting the amount of materials released from the country when it comes to chips, guys, which could increase, unfortunately, the global chip shortage. So a lot of these were down on that initially this morning.
I mean, the good news would be that there's, I'm going to say, probably a near 0% chance that the U.S. wants to exacerbate that issue. So my guess is that any kind of sanctions, they'll do their absolute very best to make sure that this isn't a concern. Whether or not that ends up being true, who knows? AMD is the one that's up today. We talked about it being relatively strong, that 200 period being good support so far. NVIDIA is down 2% and under a little bit of pressure here. And I sort of look at this and say to myself, goodness, like last week we had that bottom, which was good support at 232. That got broken. Now you got this 230 low. A lot of wicks on this chart, down 221 here. But anyways, 230 low, which is sitting here, and it's like, we break that, and NVIDIA's got room to the downside. Like, it just, you think about the size of this gap. It's about a $15, not really a huge gap, but it's about a $15 move that you could have to the next obvious support level. So if we're headed southbound today, I hate to say it, but NVIDIA looks like the one that has the most room to go into that downside. So a lot of times I just prefer having that notion of, okay, if it's a long today, I like this stock. If it's short today, I like this other one. NVIDIA, that's the one. Off of this open, if 230 can't hold, this risk to reward, it looks pretty solid. And we talked AMD, that 200 period looms at about 112.80 or so, and then support down at about 110. Those are the two I choose to look at. But a part of me is a little bit skeptical that, at least from the sanctions aspect, that this gets out of hand. I would tend to think, given everything that's going on, there's so much pressure to relieve inflation and not exacerbate supply chain issues. Like, it just, to me, it would just be like cooler heads would almost have to prevail, because no one's going to win in that kind of a spot. And we'll see what happens. Obviously, we have to keep our ear to the ground, because any single headline is going to end up moving us here. I'm not sure what headline is going to move us up, but I can think of a few that would make us go southbound on the chip names.
Yeah, I'm only, honestly, I'm just going to wait. Like, I just got more shares. Oh, Macy's just popped again. Wow, okay. Like, how good has this trade been? Wow. Macy's, again, another dip buy into 85.
They're
again,
lower highs, though.
out. 04s again right there. So another one. Yeah, buddy, we'll go Ape Nation on this one. Yeah, Macy's just been, we're killing it today on that name. So, so far so good there, but let's move on. Okay, that's Macy's, and we just talked about AMD, so that's another name here. I'm just getting in and out of Macy's with still 12 minutes to go. I might as well, if they just can keep reloading me down there. Look, 110, that's it. So we're gonna wait for 110. I don't think that any of us really have an idea where these names are gonna go. It's gonna be dependent on the market. The market's really flat right now. The NASDAQ, if we retest, even breaking, like we're getting close, man. We keep talking about that 14,000 and how key that level is. Well, guess what? I mean, it's right there right now again, 14,000. So if we take that out to the upside, then definitely if we can hang out northbound, then that's where we want to be on the NASDAQ. We want to be long AMD, NVIDIA, Micron, some of those semi names that have been a monster to trade, especially when the market works. But again, down here, we break back lower, man, then I believe that we can retest some of these NASDAQ lows, 13,700. And then if we do that, then yeah, 110 probably comes into play. So we got to watch out for 110 here on AMD coming back in. We bounced off there the last couple times, and it was a good trade. But other than that, I don't really want to be messing with it inside. So I'm going to wait for 110 to come out, or if not, then we may leave it alone. So for me, I have Facebook fish to fry today, and a few other names that I like at just at more key levels. So for me, it's AMD or nothing right here.
All right, let's go to DraftKings. As we said, multiple, 3 listed on this note, I can show you, but there was 4 or 5 different price target cuts and analyst moves, mostly to the downside for DraftKings today. Remember, earnings on Friday, not great, was worse than expected, in fact. So typically after an earnings report, we get a whole bunch of moves from analysts, guys, for DKNG.
None of them good. I mean, all the analyst moves are obviously going to be southbound on DraftKings. It's down about 5% today. Now, I'm looking at 17 to 1740. Friday's lows into that 17 range are going to be what we're concerned with. The key thing here is you're breaking down into uncharted territories. You're gapping below the January low. So this is a level that's broken already. I think it's a short at least until that. And a pop, I think that means you almost have to wait till 17 if I want to be out at 1750. And then if it takes out the bottom, you're looking at a 17 level. So, I think there's plenty of ways to play this. It's not going to be, it's not going to be down 10%, but you are still going to end up being a SSR today. So you got to watch out for that. You're not going to be able to hit that 16 bid. But unless it's above that January low, it's a short to me on DraftKings, even on a pop. That means I'm shorting into 1750. Not till 17 even would I try to start getting in this price range. Otherwise, I can be very patient with this. It's got a wide range and not tremendous volume. I think everyone's looking at DWAC and fun today so far, and there's some other names that are catching people's attention. But unless we're above 1750, I think it has to be faded.
Yeah, I'm going to just, again, it's right here on the sticky note today, the exact same levels there, 1750. Obviously, we really like those. So let's pay attention to that one. Stay short, just getting killed here, off your near 1750. Should be a short also through 16. So we'll see if that breaks. But here it is, a sticky note. We'll put that up in, well, you can just find it. I don't have to copy this all like that. Find it there. A few names on here, Macy's, AMD, DraftKings, Palantir, Facebook. So, I mean, just watch out here. Again, DraftKings into this level, definitely a short. We've never been down here before, so let's wait to see. I mean, look how pathetic this has been all the way to the downside. You can't, and I even said, people that were holding DraftKings for Super Bowl, mistake. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just this continues to go to the downside. We talked about all the new markets opening up for them, and it doesn't matter because not only is it opening up for DraftKings, it's also opening up for everybody else as well. So, I mean, that's sort of the bear case situation there for DraftKings is that you have Caesars, you have MGM, you have a lot of people coming through into this online and app gambling. So for me, I think DraftKings has probably had its day in the sun, but I'm hoping for brighter days. So watch out now, but for at least until their next report, I feel like DraftKings is going to be in a problem.
Anyone looking for something that has a little bit of Russian ties or ties to at least the Russian stock market? You can have a look at a couple of names. There's Chinese Bilibili, which is BILI, does a lot of business in Russia. Also, this one, Yandex, was down almost 15% when it opened this morning down here at 38, which was all-time, or at least recent lows. For YNDX, still 9.5%. I just noticed, guys, this thing's done easily 10 times the amount of volume it normally does pre-market here, but down huge here for YNDX. Might be worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I got to double check because I know there's also like an ETF that we should be looking at if you want to trade that aspect of the markets. I just want to quickly jump to a couple of other ones because I know they're going to be of interest. I mean, Ocugen doing Ocugen things. They got an FDA approval. Actually, lifted a hold on their COVID vaccine. That's on our watch list. But if you kind of know what happens to Ocugen every time it gets a bit of a bump, it has not been able to sustain anything. Ever since it squeezed to 19, there has not been a single up move that it's been able to hold. So I look at the recent range. You got a 417 top in the last couple of weeks here. Round it to 420 because why not? It's just going to be a fade for me off of that level. And if it wants to break out over last week's high, this one sort of stands out a little bit here. So I did already jump into this. I think it's going to be an interesting and pretty key level. And we didn't talk about Funware as well. So we did briefly talked about Funware, and it's a very similar setup. And the reason why I said fade Funware wasn't that I didn't believe DWAC could go up. It's just that it has a level to go against. On any move up in DWAC, you've got this $3.80, $3.90 level sitting here on Funware, which is from the last couple of weeks, that has not been breached. It's a double top, including some pre-market levels here. And so if we get a bump up and we're still below this level, and DWAC is starting to make a turn, let's just say, after potentially rising, that's what I'd be looking to fade. So I always have to know where I'm wrong in a trade, like 26.50 on Macy's. In this case, jumping into a short on Funware. And that's why you haven't heard me say, oh, I'm shorting DWAC here. And I don't really know exactly where I'd be shorting DWAC until it opens up. But I know what I'd be looking for in Funware and where I'd be wrong, Brendan.
Definitely want to look at Oxygen. Not on the list, but this one popped up a little bit late in the morning as well. A smaller energy company. INDO is an energy company. If you zoom out a little bit on a higher time frame, you can see 480 is the top of like the past 4 or 5 days. So clear was resistant, should become support here at 480, where that pink line is, right across that entire chart. So we've already tested up to 560, 575, back below 5 now. Just a quick trade on a smaller energy stock down to 480, guys, for INDO.
That's a good one. Getting that in, well, anyways. Getting the endo in there anyway.
Shoot, DWAC just broke.
Yeah, DWAC, did it break 100?
It did.
Oh, the spread's a ridiculous one.
Yeah, I got into that one.
So wow, that's a ridiculous spread. So I actually didn't put any stops, and I kind of want to hold off until the open there. I was sitting in front of 87. We said we'd defend that level, but getting a bit of a bump up is DWAC. We were just talking about fun in that 390. And then, of course, DWAC decides to make its initial move. I think the possible chance that it has to stall would be somewhere around that 108. Watch out for halt trades on this stock. The spread is certainly big enough, and I know it's doing a lot of volume, but it only has to move like $10 in a short time frame for you to get a potential halt. So you're gonna have to watch out for those on DWAC and Fun. CFBI, I don't know if we pulled up a chart of that one as well. I'll tempt fate by trying to pull it up right now, and yeah, actually CFBI not as big of a volume spike there, but a little bit of a bump. It looks like the two places to be, at least for the day trade, are going to be DWAC and Fun. Much, much better volume.
Oh, yeah, the market is coming back in here. Yeah, so we do have DWAC. We did take a 100 break. We talked about that. So as far as where to get out, I mean, yeah, who knows how far this thing's going to continue to go down. We may even get a 96 break, something like that. I am sitting here trying to get a little bit out. We did obviously we are taking a hit on this, but we'll see where it goes. Like Neil just mentioned, we still have a little bit of time left here before this market even opens. So more to come here on DWAC today. So we'll see how far down this one wants to go against us here. But DWAC right now a little bit in trouble. But again, we took the 100 break knowing that this could happen. So there it goes. Breaks 100 and it goes to $100.50. You can see the spread rate here pretty reasonable. I mean, I could take a piece. I mean, I could take a piece out. I mean, I ultimately think we go a lot higher than this. So we'll see. Okay, let's just cancel this. We just took some out at O's there. Let's just see where we go off the open, because again, we don't need to have this like absolutely kill us here. So we'll offer a little bit upside if it blows upside, and then we'll wait for even higher than that. It's Mr. Randy is in the building. Sure. What's up, Randy? As we get ready to go live now with only 2.5 minutes to go. Just checking back in. So DWAC, we talked about that. We're long. Facebook down near 2 bills coming in right now. I'd love to.
Oh my God, 200 Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to punch that. Yeah, it's on the sticky note, Neil. Come on. 200 Facebook to the downside. Let's wait to see where that one goes, man. I mean, this is going to be a sticky situation at that 2 bills. So I'm not going to punch the short right away. I'm already in, like I said, DWAC and Macy's here, but we definitely like that. And I do got to give a big shout out to Tony, who came through with the caramels today. So here we go. He does have the caramels. Yeah, they're right here. We'll be popping that one soon. Thank you to Tony for all that. But there it is. It's caramel time. And we're just getting really, really excited for this trade. So let's get ready to rock and roll. Facebook getting ready to open up here. DWAC we're already in, and Macy's we're already in as well. Imbalance locator, because the NASDAQ came through. That just must have been what this market tank was. SNDL, the only name on here. So I don't really see anything. So CCL, Pfizer, Palantir, they're all getting killed. And look at the market starting to come back to the downside. So be very, very careful with some of these trades, guys.
Yeah, and Oxygen already starting to roll over. Roblox, another one with 90 seconds to go. Remember, Roblox broke that 50 level. It's still back below these these fresh lows here at 48. So looks like it's another fade. Is when the volume came southbound in the market, market. I saw Roblox make another leg down, breaking that 48. If it tries to pop off the open, now that that level is gone, we'll look for maybe a 48.50 fade. Do not want to forget about some of these names we wrote down from last week, and certainly Roblox. Under that pressure, it just hasn't made any move. PayPal holding at 102, but 100 is the only defense I will make on that particular name. And of course, we talked about Home Depot. On their earnings report, they're still down around 335. If it pops 342, that previous low, about the only level I think worth defending. And I'm stopping out Macy's at 26.50 and hunting lower if it wants to make another leg to the downside. So 30 seconds. It is Tuesday. We got a holiday shortened week. We said it before. It's going to be a wild one here. There's so much to look at, a lot of names. So make sure you narrow down your list. DWAC, I'll watch at the open first because if something's going to make a crazy move right at 9:30, my guess is it's DWAC or Fun. I don't think that's going too far on a limb. I'm not sure who's on the bell there. It is Randy. There he is. Randy in the short sleeves. I'm not sure why. It's cold in here. 7, 6, 5, 4,
I can't even feel
3.
my hands.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like 2 and 1. I do something about the heat, man.
I'm gonna assume we're open on that one. Okay, so let's get ready to rock and roll, guys. Right now, ready to rock here off the open. So let's get this party started right this time. So here goes Macy's. Yeah, big, whoops. Again, nothing's loading for me, so a big move to the downside here for Macy's. Let's watch that one very closely, guys.
Yeah, so I mean, DWAC initial move is basically holding inside of the range, so I guess not too bad here on this action. About 95. I'm still going to be on that 87 bid and see if we can catch a bit of a floor. I mean, Ocugen, give me a break like that. I was trying for the curl trade, so I'm all over the offer to get more shares, and I can't even get any more. We're already getting like 380s here. Like,
no, I think we're in.
Yeah, so we're gonna give a bit of a slap shot action. I know what you're saying, Sean. I have a couple of orders that
I can't cancel any order whatsoever. So if Gregory is around or somebody is around, someone can help us. I can't do anything. So
yeah, DWAC starting to fall a little bit. Macy's heading back to the upside. So I said I'd get out of Macy's if it broke 26.50. It broke 26.50 and then sort of jams back up. So it ran some stops and then it ran away. And then Roblox, that just filled in here. So we got the pop and fade on Roblox, able to get 48.35 in front of that pre-market high. I don't know, we'll go Timbers. That heads right back southbound. Don't forget some of those names that have been crazy good at trading action for you. Roblox has definitely been one. We'll ring the register to take the 50 cents on this just to make sure we're taking profit. But if I can hang on to a short that doesn't break out of this range, I think we can hopefully have one we can ride for the rest of the day. DWAC 92s, I might get that 87, Phil.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have execution, I guess. I don't even think I have execution even right now. So, okay, so my computer is just completely not working right now.
No, there is something up.
Okay, so I don't know, Neil. You have to take it. I can't do anything.
Yeah. So, hey, guys, just a couple of other names.
I'm just
for you
gonna log
here.
out and back in.
SoFi, which I did like, is a fade. The second Sean reporting issues, I actually have execution. The first thing I thought was any order I don't need, let's go ahead and cancel and not exacerbate it. So SoFi did make that pop. Now, it already been filled on Roblox for the short off the high, but SoFi did give you 11.15 and then retest that low. So that was a bit of a miss, but there's no way I wanted to get more positions as I was already in a couple that I felt pretty comfortable with here. Macy's continues to churn to the downside here as it heads toward 26. I think if it gets back into that 25.70 range, this is what I'm talking about. Those Friday lows in the afternoon, that's where I'd like to defend. I just can't see this thing holding negative territory. So we get to 26 even. I think that's where I want to dig in. But the stop would have to be at 25.70. So I'm going to get back on the bid of this name. I do want to be involved in Macy's if I can get a chance here to that southbound trade. One we forgot about was going to be Tesla. Oh, whoops. Come on, load up, baby. One we forgot about was Tesla. For now, it's not moving too heavily, but 850, 950 was a thing. 850, I anticipate, could be a bit of a level as well. It's under pressure with the rest of the markets here, which are still in the tight range. Not really getting a massive move in these markets overall. We're in about a 100-point range on the NASDAQ, so you want to let things settle down. I just have Ocugen and Roblox. No longs actually came in for me yet.
Massive. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just... I'm trying to survive here, so hopefully this will print out for me and we will be fine. Obviously, DWAC on the move downside. We did get some out there off our long 100 once 96 broke, so all is well right there for DWAC, I guess, to the downside. So far, so good on that one, but let's wait to see where we can go on everything else. Okay, all right, so there we go. We did get our DraftKings short, so I'm just sort of seeing all of these trades come through right now, so off of a restart, so we did get DraftKings coming through, so that's good so far. Thank you, Miss V. Yeah, I'm just, let's go over to Brendan. I'll just sort out my trades.
All right, guys, KPTI, big mover back on Friday, way back on Friday, to the upside, right back to the downside, just bounced off $10 in the pre-market on decent volume. So back down on a new deal this morning that I guess is not positive, but KPTI trying to bounce.
We'll add that one to the list. I myself also got DraftKings in there. We talked about that previous low. That's about 1740 on the daily chart there. Just looking, and again, this is the January low, about 1750. Sorry, not 40. So I want to be short in front of it, and that's the price that we're going to wait for. You're actually getting a little bit of a bounce in some names. The overall market not doing a heck of a lot as I watch it here. We're basically heading southbound. So some of these names that are getting relief rallies, I feel like I just want to be playing the fades where I like them. That included DraftKings, and then PayPal, which I thought on a move to the downside, we'd be testing 100. PayPal getting a bit of a break. So PayPal up to 103. Looks like it's breaking out in the other direction. DWAC, I mean, whatever. And I paid for the shorts, but it doesn't mean you absolutely have to use them. I didn't see the setup that I loved. I'm now still sitting on front of that 87. Got to watch out here because if it were to pop to 95, there's a chance that if it falls down to 87 too fast, you could be caught in one of those halt situations. For now, looks like it's pretty secure. It's finding a bit of a bottom off of 90 even. That's not the level I liked. Like I said, 85 to 87 are the key prices for me on DWAC.
Okay, it looks like we're sort of settled out here. So here we go. Yeah, we were looking at, again, this breaking spot right here for DraftKings. So we do have that short. It's a good one for me for sure. Okay, so I just got to, here goes DWAC. Like, I don't even, again, in all this crap, we wish we would have got them all out here at 96, but unfortunately, just the drop continues to happen here on DWAC. Yeah, what was that bottom right there? I just got to use it as our out right now, 89. So it looks like this is definitely a sell the news situation here, where you buy the rumor and then you sell the news. It's already out, so now you got to sort of wait to see maybe 92 long if it does pick back up again a little bit, but that's the only spot right now for me that I would look here on DWAC. You could see Macy's here with a great long for me on Macy's, man. We supported that level. Our level was 25.50. We talked about why we like this, and here we go. Nice little win for Macy's now, 70 cents in the money on big time shares. So far so good. Let's just keep on going to the upside, guys. We're rocking with, we're killing it here so far today. We just screwed up that DWAC, but there goes Macy's, guys. Good trade for me.
Yeah, and DWAC, oh my goodness. Yeah, back through 90. I'm still going to maintain the same price. I hate it if I actually miss the bottom, but you have a level, you got to stick by it. Getting a bit of a curl here in DraftKings. It got to 35. I wanted to be adding closer to 50, so did miss out one time on a bit of an ad, but I will still take some out if it breaks that 17 even, and we'll get some out probably in the 90s or so, just halfway from that breakout price, and then roll back into the trade. OCGN. That's also caught a bit around 380. I still want to be adding this. As long as it's below that 420 mark, I think it's going to be a short, and I definitely want to make sure that we're ringing the register, below 375, but also working the top end of the range to be able to get in and out of that one. And Roblox, oh, give me a break, Roblox. I don't know if we're looking gift horses in the mouth here. I feel like as long as the trend is doing that on Roblox, we want to be in that short, but look at it. Much like we're just showing I have several names here, we're not really breaking out of the range. We made a bottom at 47.50. 48.50 was this pre-market resistance level, and then we're just back and forth, actually holding the top end of the range. So while that's been a winning trade so far, the follow-through hasn't been there, and this is a bit surprising. We're seeing the ES down 0.5%. We're seeing the NASDAQ basically the exact same thing, but not the fireworks off the open that I think I was anticipating outside of DWAC, I guess.
All right, so yeah, exactly. Look at the market starting to go back up to the upside right now. So yeah, we do have DraftKings. We did take a little bit out there at 1703 off that, but our big one right now is Macy's as that just continues to rock and roll. We did get back into DWAC there on a 92 break, so that was one that we wanted. Now we can hold it for this bottom 89 break. If it breaks 89, we're gone. If it does want to go back up to the upside, we can make back a little bit of that disaster that happened to us earlier on when we took the 100 break. But it wasn't so bad though, guys. Out 96. We'll take that. I mean, it's a $4 hit. Let's see if we can make $4 back now on DWAC as it's starting to climb to the upside again. Yeah, Macy's starting to go as well. We already talked about that. Let's check out our boy Facebook. I haven't even looked at that. We're finally, okay, so that does go down. How far did we go down? No, not 193, come on. The bottom was 201.50. So even though we did have our problems, we wouldn't have got in at that level. So we're going to have to wait to see now where that goes. But 201.50 is the bottom there for this name here, Facebook. We'll have to watch it out. I'm still a little bit discombobulated trying to figure out, I don't even know if that word makes sense.
It does.
Does? Okay, good. Trying to figure out my orders. But all is well, and it looks like we're ready to rock and roll. I just did want to talk about one more trade here because it may or may not come in, but that is going to be Ford down here near 1725. We're looking at Ford down here. So if that can come in, we will also take that long in F.
And just coming back to the chip names here for a second, NVIDIA bouncing nicely off of 230. So that was a level of concern. If it broke and held below that, you think the floodgates could have, well, I thought the floodgates could open up. Looks like we're headed in the other direction, which means if we're going to try to head northbound, AMD's relative strength is what I was more concerned with here, bouncing off that 200, like I said. And, oh, got to zoom in for you guys here. There we go. Friday's top, 115.60. You just had a breakout and a pullback in front of it. I want to try to defend that level here. If we're going to hold these levels on the futures overall, about 0.5% to the downside, and then able to actually take the breakout price on an AMD, like I said, I'm going to jump into this one for the relative strength. Still have to hold 230, I think, for NVIDIA. That's that key price. But AMD's been up pretty much all morning long here and showed some signs. If the market wants to head northbound, this is the one I want to try to take. I think you're giving it back to about that 115 level to be sure. And Roblox, I did not get a re-entry into it. It's still on the New York, last I checked, Neil. Did not get a re-entry into it, but it is now retesting pre-market lows because we're not breaking out of the ranges here. I'm going to try to get out again for a 50-cent scalp, and then if it breaks the low, I'll hold on to some of my shares there. So we're going to again ring the register on this one and go a little bit of basketball action. Disappointing dunk off, by the way. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Was that even a dunk off?
Well, I mean, it'd be nice if you could actually dunk the ball on more than 800,000 tries.
The NBA should be...
Don't even get me started on how bad that was, man.
They should not allow these guys to do the NBA slam dunk contest, honestly. It should be like you have to have a tryout or something.
Get Ja Morant or get Andrew Edwards in that bad boy and get some guys who actually know
take these kids off the street, man. There's like so many street ballers. That
Jordan, what's his name?
I don't know, man.
You know the one I'm thinking about.
There's so many guys, man. There's like these crazy white guys. There's
That's
lots.
The guy I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many guys that can dunk, and then that we have to sit here. Like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar gets up and leaves. Like
I'm just getting mad. It's actually making me.
Yeah, I'm getting mad too. Okay, so all right. On that note, let's start to trade a little bit here. Okay, so Macy's, a nice little move back to the upside. Unfortunately, we didn't get any reloads. I mean, we did in all that chaos when I had to log in. I mean, I wish I was still sitting here down at 26. Unfortunately, that order just gets canceled, but that would have been a monster move to the upside. We do like Macy's. We are in this name 70 cents now in the money. DraftKings against us, but I'm not afraid of this name. I'm taking this all the way up here. If you want to take out these highs, DraftKings, then you can do that up to 1850. I'm waiting for. So I'm not afraid of this DraftKings position. I actually want to hold on to this as long as I can. However, it is slipping away a little bit here. If you are nervous about this, maybe 1770 here for a level on DKNG. But I mean, I'm making all this cash and then kind of spinning it back here. So there it goes. Macy's now with a monster move to the upside. DWAC trying to go. We just got as high as 94 there. Let's put an offer like 94, 95 in case that spikes one more time.
Yeah, and I got an offer out for the 1-to-1 on AMD there. And it's just fortunate because I was looking for some longs when things settled down. And AMD, which was relatively strong, gave me the price I still wanted, even if we didn't get it at that open. So we'll go ahead and ring the Reggie on the first bid, and we'll power it up a little bit there as AMD starts to go. I'm sure NVIDIA is making a move as well, breaking out those highs. But it's just about figuring out which one I like better. And I like that relative strength in an AMD. As all that's happening, whoops, it's still on the New York Roblox, Neil. It's breaking back. And remember we said, get some profit out because we're going to test those pre-market highs. So here comes Roblox, motoring with the rest of the market. I don't want to let this break out past this 75 mark. So we had most of it out, but that's not a reason to turn it in the last bit into a loser just because I'm going to be up on the name. If we take out 14,000 on the NASDAQ, Roblox is exactly the type of stock that could make a run through that high a day. Brendan?
Big mover Thursday and Friday, guys, trying to get back to the upside. Roku, if you remember, reported Thursday Huge move down on Friday. So here we go, taking out this high this morning above 115.5 for Roku on the move.
We're making it back now a little bit here, so we'll go, oh my God, because there it is, a little bit made back here on DWAC as we try to support it. That's a $5 hit, remember, or sorry, yeah, roughly. I mean, we got out at 95.70. Good thing we got out. I guess the stop orders, I don't even know what happened to that order, but that was a trade that we wanted, so it's a nice move now for DWAC back to the upside. We just took it out at 94.06 or something there. We saw, I thought it was resisting 94, but I guess we must have got, let me see that exact price there, because I just hit offer enter. Yeah, we got 93.99, so that is what we got. So we didn't get 04 there. I guess if you zoom it in, that is 99s there. So yeah, so we do get that 94 out. And again, we just saw resist. Look at Macy's, holy shoot. Macy's right now, $1 in the money. And again, if you're just gonna trade one time today, take the number one idea off here, man. Go long Macy's. It's the number one idea on the sticky note. So there it goes right up to the upside. And look at this, man. All you're doing is cashing in and ringing the register for nice profits here to the upside with this name. So there it goes now. The only name that we have to think about reloading here is going to be DraftKings as it continues to go to the upside. No idea why this one's flying through, but it is. So, and it does something. It doesn't matter what the reason is. We just have to understand that it is happening. So DraftKings to the upside right now. This is a good reload spot for me ahead of 18.
Yeah, I'm out of DraftKings, and once it broke that low, it has to then test a resistance level higher, and that's got to be like 18 to 1850, which I actually did not think was going to come into play today. Might be in there. Going to get a reload on Occugen as well. Like I said, we took some profit out at those lows. Got the 15-minute up here just so you can see that double top that we're talking about. So once we got some out at 75s, we're thinking about short in front of that 417, 420. So I did just reload Occugen, and we're going to play that as long as we can. If we get through 14,000, AMD's a hold for me. I'm not really planning on offering anything out. I would buy the dip if it wants to give me that opportunity. There's no guarantees that's going to happen. Beggars can't be choosers. The stock's going to do what it wants to do for you here. And PayPal, I think you can pretty much forget about 100 today. Well, I shouldn't say that. You're likely going to be able to forget about 100 today. That's sort of come and gone. We've gotten far enough away. I'm not going to have that bid in there anymore. Breaking out here on PayPal. Brendan?
A lot of people mentioning this one, guys. Lucid having quite the day here. Held that 26 again, if you remember on the daily chart. 26, a big level. Straight higher for Lucid so far.
Back. Okay, DWAC right here. Good thing we got out, man. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, now we got to, okay, good. I don't even need more orders, but I don't know how we avoided that. Like, we got out of a third of that trade right there and then gave it right back on the way back down. So DWAC there comes crashing back down, fills us out right there at 88.50, and then that's the rest of that story. So DWAC comes crashing in there. Just a horrible offer there at $100 and then right back down. So like we said, I was here to take that trade, so I'm happy to do it. But again, that was a pretty big fail there on that level. Other than that, man, we're still going to try to look to see what else we have on our board here. AMD, DraftKings, Palantir, and Facebook. Let's see what Palantir's been doing today. This is a strange one for me. I haven't even looked at it yet, and it is 9:46. I guess it's not very late yet. Ooh, a nice move. Wow. Okay, Palantir, I see you. All the trades we made on Friday, or I guess it was Friday, yep, all the way upside, and now right back to 11. Palantir, hold my beer, says Palantir, as that goes all the way back up to the upside with the market. Both positive now, so this is a good name to look at. DraftKings coming back in. We did short a little bit up here near 70, so that's trying to come back in. And then Macy's obviously with the rock and roll to the upside as well.
Yeah, and we're going to go a little bit of a bowl them over, knock them out here. That 87 fill comes in here on DWAC. Ignore that wick. That didn't happen. 87 was just that temp bottom. So it was 87 for like 3 weeks. 87 was resistance. We just figured that's going to be your support level if we can try to find one. And if it comes back up and breaks this 90 even, I'm not thinking about 100. I'm thinking about 91 to 93. Just give me that bit of the range here. I don't want to turn this into a losing trade. I'll tighten the stop up here. I would have given this to 85 before, but now that we've got this level and we've taken some profit in, if it retests that low without getting through 90, that's incredibly weak. So I'm going to throw my stop now from 85 into break even at 87. And then if we break out from 91, 92 on DWAC, I can consider trailing this one to the upside. So for my first trade in DWAC here, and I don't even think I want more than $5 or $6. I think if it makes a real power move to the upside, there'll be plenty of opportunities to get in on that train. So let's see if we can't get a $5 or $6 winner on DWAC here on the last little bit. I talked about AMD wanting to hold on to it. I'm not really changing that stance just yet. The market just broke that 14. the NASDAQ just broke that 14,000. If you look at where AMD, I think, could end up, I mean, 122, like that 120 to 122 on the daily, that's that double top. I really don't see any reason why, if it's going to be an up day and a relief day for the NASDAQ, how is AMD not going to be able to retest those levels? It's the strongest of the bunch. That's what I'm holding out for. For now, looking pretty solid, but you don't want to look too many gift horses in the mouth. I've already taken some off for that first dollar win. Now I'm hunting for the full 5.
All right, we're going to go up here on DraftKings and see if that one wants to come back in there. Facebook DraftKings just looking AMD Rivian. Rivian up to $70 again. So let's check out Rivian, RIVN here. Oops, RIVN. You don't want to screw up your putting in the name key here, as we've noticed with this platform. So today, anyways, let's wait to see here. $68 coming through here on Rivian, 68 and change now to the downside here for Rivian. So I like a 70 level. We've talked about liking that for a bit on this name, so we could just take a look at Rivian at these levels, but. $60, 70 is right there. Let's see what it did today. It gets as high as, we're at the high rate now. Where's my minute chart? Here it is. Up to 68, 69 now for Rivian. So, yeah, this isn't horrible. If you think this market's about to do for a pullback, I think Rivian's the name that you want right now. What's up, Brendo?
Mover from last week, guys, that Hook, H-O-O-K, which was a little pharma stock, up for 1, 2, 3, 4, now 5 days in a row, just taking out some highs here for Hook again.
Captain.
Yeah, I know. That was a good stock for us last week, and I guess, look, it's going to happen to you. You're going to forget about it because there's a heck of a lot to look at. You can see I already got a couple of longs I like. Hard to find the ones, those longs off of the open there. I had to be a bit patient with it. Now, Hook, $3. $3, $3. At this point, you've broken out once again, so that 260 that we're looking at on Friday is pretty much, coming is long gone at this point. So the even $3 level is the only thing I'm going to care about. The small cap that I do have, Ocugen, we just got another fill there. Our average price now $4. Not really looking to add unless it's right in front of 20. That'll be the last ad I would take. And I don't want to take anything out until we're back below that $4 range. On the way down to, I think, $3.75, the established low here on an Ocugen. Roblox, bit of a tricky one this morning. Still on the New York. And, by the end of the day, I'm actually going to type in RBLX.NQ. I know I can do it. Eventually, it's going to happen for me. But it just hit that 48, so I did scalp some out. I'm essentially taking 50-cent wins every time it'll test that high. But at some point, if it keeps putting in higher lows, you set up for a breakout. And if it breaks out at that 49, there's just no way we can hold on to that short. It's a booming market. We're heading northbound. There's not much you can do about it here. And as weak as Roblox has been, at some point it could get dragged up with the rest of them. Checking back in on DWAC, it looks like it might be the right call. Sort of what we're doing here with that long. Tightening it up to break even. If it breaks 87, I just don't want to lose on the second half of this trade when it's such a strong downward momentum. I do think there's going to be somewhere else that you can pick up that long outside of just 87. First, I think you look at this level here, but 82.5, and then all the way down at 78. So one of those two things, if we do get stopped out, is going to be the place I'd look to defend one more time here on DWAC. But so far, so good, being patient with it at the open. AMD just turned shy of 118, but I still think I want to be in AMD all day long. If we're holding above 14,000 and we're green on the NASDAQ, then AMD has to be held.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we're doing with Macy's here, is trying to hold the same name as we go to the upside. I know you're looking at AMD. I was waiting for that 110, but yeah, good move upside right now. DraftKings continues. We did short that one again to the upside, so we'll try to hold that as long as we can to the downside now, as that's going. Check in on DWAC 86. Wow, that was a horrible trade for us today. Let's check out Microsoft, the name that we obviously love that we haven't looked at yet. Mr. Softy, up today or down? Up. Okay, nice. Up 0.5. Ooh. What's wrong with this chart here? Up 0.59 and still taking out new highs here. It's been nothing but love for Microsoft today, all the way back up to 290. So that's a good day here for Softy. Yeah, looking to take out this 291. Why not? That could be a good trade here for Microsoft, but it's 291. Has to get in. I'm looking for something near like the 50 period. I see Roblox. I know Neil's been on it. Down to $48 though. We traded that like madman last week, man, Roblox. So we could definitely have a look at this down to 48. And again, the chart's just taking a little bit longer today, so bear with us as they'll try to load the daily chart. Yeah, okay, we already know where Roblox is. New lows now, 47.60 is that low. If the market turns over, man, you want to be short Roblox, not long. So I was going to say maybe you're looking at a punch through there, but no, we'll have to hold out on Roblox right now.
Yeah, it's just, look, it's one of those days, right? Like you have to play with the momentum. I just got stopped out of DWAC, so I mean, it turned at 87. You think to yourself, okay, you got a bid exactly where it managed to find support, and then really it gave you like a couple of dollars, and that's pretty much it. I did try to hold for more. It is what it is at this point. Like, it's just the weakness is there, and there's not much you can do about it. At least Ocugen, this is going to go pretty much a little bit closer to plan. Like I said, not going to get anything out until we get below that $4 range, and then probably down to $3.75 where it's established that bottom. So I want to make sure I've got my bids out there just in case. Like, we just had a bit of a capitulation candle, and when you get one of those, you want to make sure that next leg down, if it does the same thing and supports 75, I'm getting my profit. I'm not going to guess exactly how far it's going to go, but at this particular point, I think we have that established level of resistance. Roblox, again, bouncing back and forth. I don't think there's too much to do here except sort of hold on for dear life. If it takes out that top, I think we could be in some trouble. And it goes without saying, I know we've both been looking at DWAC. It goes without saying, Funware, more or less the same looking chart, right? Like, it's stair-stepping to the downside. It has yet to find some support. I suppose you'd be looking at $3 if things really got, like, if DWAC were to take it at 85, I think you're looking to see if $3 could hold on Funware. And I haven't really looked at CFVI, but that's sort of the same thing. Like, if these things are trying to find a bottom, maybe let DWAC find a bottom first before you hunt at Funware or CFVI, unless it's just a monster even dollar range. And because I am in AMD and it just broke 118, just checking back in, NVIDIA, yeah. NVIDIA just turned green on the day. Brendo?
Another one that had a pretty big week last week, guys. Nubank. That NU got all the way back to almost $12 on Friday, if you remember. Trying to bounce here. You can see monster volume just came in front of 925 there, lifted it back above 9.5. So NU trying to bounce as well.
I'm actually trying to remember if that actually had a reason for going up on Friday. Probably not, but
I think it was just squeezed. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's like that Dave Bank there that we traded a couple times. Look what the hell's going on with Macy's right now. $1.21 in the money, like boom on that one. And again, we're just. Too bad. It's, like I said, it was too bad we were having some technical difficulties off the open, or else we would have been long down here at $26, like even more. Like, I did have bids there. I had to cancel them all as we logged out, and thank God we actually got one of them before all the hell broke loose on my system here. 9:30 that came in, and we got a $26.50. But ultimately, this was the name that we wanted here today. It's the number one stock here, and just super happy, obviously, with the way this one's panning out. So that is Macy's to the long side. All right, so let's just look at our DraftKings trade. It's coming back down a little bit, which is great. We talked about holding this, guys, until 18.50, something like that up here. It is coming back in, but again, we don't need to sit here and trade it, like hold it just because we're expecting it to come down. Just because we think something's going to happen doesn't mean it is. It's if this market ever turns around, though, I guarantee you this name. For sure, I mean, it's not rocket science to say this, but I'm thinking the market right here, we've just broke through 14,000. We can have a retest back down of 14. So if that comes back through, then definitely you're already seeing DraftKings pull back in a little bit. Our average price is 40, so we're still off sides here, 25 cents. But again, I'm holding out hope that this comes back into the 30s at least, which we need. I mean, that would be a profitable spot. But down in here, first area to get out, low 30s here on DraftKings. I like it. Just got to figure out how much we like it because I don't want to average in too much more. It has to break 18 for my next piece.
So actually on our watch list was Alibaba, and I know we might not have quickly gotten to it. That's why, look, I mean, check out the free watch list. It's out there for you. It touched 5% to the downside, or broke 5% to the downside, and is still trending down in an upward market. So relative weakness in BABA as it tries to take out last week's bottoms, February bottoms, I should say, at 113 even right here. And again, it's only about a $3 gap to 110, but these are significant price levels. I traded it around this range when we hung out here before. You had a 116, 117 top, so the bottom of that would be about a 110 area. Alibaba, not the name that I was looking to trade, but certainly if the market turns back below that 14 and you're looking for relative weakness, I think you don't have to look too much further than that. Still, actually just going to get a little more shares out there of Ocugen. below that $4 range, it's actually kind of checking up a little bit here. And if you look at last week's price, this was previous resistance, like 390, 395. It holds above that. I don't want to get too caught off base. It's likely to give another pop to 420. So getting some more shares out in front of 390, showing you the 15-minute chart as I work this trade, and then want to be shorting pops into 410 to 420. Playing inside of the range is going to be the way to go. And if I like holding the roadblocks, oh my goodness, New York. If I like holding the AMD long, it's a roadblock short I also want to hold. That heads down toward low of the day. I'm holding through the low of the day on roadblocks. If it takes out 47.50, there's nothing to look at. I'm thinking $45, and why not?
Okay, come on. Now, yeah, exactly. I mean, look, right now, I was going to say, like, we used to be able to sort of like predict somewhat like where these prices would go and stuff like that. But right now, you're just throwing darts at a lot of these names. So like, for me to say DraftKings can come back to 1730, man, it can come back to 1630 right now. So let's just, make sure that we get all that straightened out. What's up, Valeria?
Hey guys, we've got 2 super chats from Eric Ciaroni and JD's357 saying they're having a great profitable day. Congratulations guys, and keep it up. And I remind you to smash the like button. We need just 600 more likes to get 2,000. So please, 7,000 viewers support and go long on the like button. Back to you guys.
Oh, and I know Brendan mentioned this name, INDO, halted for a second time. It looks like it halted at the open at 570. Did it really just halt again at 620? Is that the price? Looks like it halted at 620 here. I have a bit of a gap in my chart there, but either way, current indicated open is actually at that 620 level. It's done 6 million shares worth of volume. We'll let you know what's going on there. A bit of a weird look, but if you are looking for those types of names, I say it all the time. Always make sure you have this up here. That's just a NASDAQ trade halt page. This is on the Amex, by the way. And so its volatility halt should be open in about 5 minutes. 5-minute halt, so in about 3 minutes or so. INDO halted, and I don't know what this Blue Water Vaccines is, but apparently that's halted as well. Always a good resource. You get indicated open times with that. Still looking to be a flat open based on the theoretical auction price that I'm looking at here on INDO. If you're looking for key levels, I guess I'll show you guys in the daily chart. It's got a little bit of a gap here, and I think you get to like $8 and then $9 from like a couple weeks ago last time it squeezed. Those are the key levels there. So plenty of room to the upside. Just tread carefully on this one.
Yeah, oh man, this has just been a spicy morning so far. As we watch DraftKings come back in, we watched, look at Macy's, guys. We just talked about $28, like, wow. We are just on one on this stock today. Monster move to the upside, just absolutely destroying Macy's here as it's continuing to make moves back in. So, so far so good on this name, guys. Macy's to the upside and nothing but love for this stock as it just took us out a little bit there at 28. It got as high as 28.20. That's been a monster win for us. Check back in on DWAC. Wow, right back up to 92, 93 right now. So here we go. I mean, this is what we talked about with this name. It's like you get carried away, and it's just there's too many levels that break with no volume, and then you get stopped out. So unfortunately for me, we are stopped out on DWAC. Obviously a big hit for us today, but hey, we'll make it back in other places. DWAC today with a monster move to the downside there, and that sucks because we didn't have it at all. We were tried the long a couple times, and no dice on that one. Facebook trying to come back in. There's DraftKings. Wow, DraftKings. DraftKings does come all the way back in. Yeah, we go, oh my God, as this one comes right back in, and now we're at a flat situation for DraftKings. So let's bring this one all the way back down now. Next bid, I actually didn't even realize we had a bid at 45. Our next bid's at 33, which is what we were talking about earlier. So let's get this to the downside here. Here it comes, guys. DraftKings, big move to the downside, and we got it. So let's go over to Brendan now at the big board and see what's up with some of these markets.
Hey guys, yeah, pretty choppy start. We just had a consumer confidence number that came out there at 10 o'clock, higher than expected. So 110.5 versus 109.5 did help a little bit, but back in positive territory there for the S&P. The Dow trying as well, but still lower on the day overall. The NASDAQ is leading at this point, so good to see. We are continuing to slide for crude oil. So some of the energy stocks we were talking about following suit, back to the downside a little bit. These two extending early gains, but overall it's been pretty quiet in crypto land so far. ExxonMobil, we were discussing in the pre-market, up, as I said, on the energy news, but not much to see otherwise. Chip stocks showing a little bit of strength as well, trying to rebound back to the upside, along with Alibaba as well. Did try to bounce, but coming back to the downside Again, Neil was saying there, more regulatory concerns, guys, for Chinese listed stocks. Back over to you.
Regulatory concerns for Chinese. Yeah, surprising there. No.
Who would have thought that?
Roblox broke that low, so like we said, we're in uncharted territories here, down about 5%. If it breaks 47 even, I think that momentum is going to hopefully take us further. But keep in mind, we're still above 14,000 on the NASDAQ, so who knows where these things are going to go. AMD obviously pulling back for me, but at this point, I'm holding on to the long that's working, holding on to the shorts that are working, and then looking for some new trades as we manage those ones. Affirm, oh goodness, why not this one on the pop? Again, like I tried DraftKings, I stopped out. I go back and look at Affirm at 38. The 3 times it tested 38 on Friday and couldn't go. It just runs like a banshee into 38, goes to 37.97, and turns around and gives you $1. So this is going to happen. You get some of these ideas, and a couple of names come into the fold, and you don't look at an old one that's been a goodie. So Affirm 38, obviously a key level. We're going to try and revisit that one. If it tries to pop again, probably worth a bit of a fade. And I saw someone in the chat say Neil should have got back into DWAC at 87. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% right about that. I mean, obviously, I stopped out flat thinking it was going to retest to like 82. That was the next level we looked to defend for the long, and it looks like DWAC is trying to climb back up. Look, I'm putting the 15-minute up to keep things in perspective, how quickly it's been moving to the downside. Like that is one 15-minute candle from 99 pretty much all the way to those mid-80s, and that was a pretty hefty drop at that open. So that's what can happen to you without any halts, by the way, on DWAC. I want it to settle down a little bit here. It'd be great if it held above 90. Last week's absolute high, I guess you go back into Thursday, I think that would give you another level to jump off of. Forget about that 87 for now. It's already made that bounce. Market looking to try and bounce one more time. I'm actually on the offer of AMD at 121, so hold it all day long, or back to last week's highs, I should say. But that's back on the breakout trend, as it looks like some of the chip names trying to come back into this little upside here. So AMD looking pretty good for that long trade. I checked in on Tesla. You guys, that's still relatively weak. As we're looking at the market trying to bounce, it's pulled all the way back into 840. So I showed you AMD at those highs and chip names looking strong. Tesla's still under pressure and holding relative weakness. 850 tried to break out, couldn't sustain.
Yeah, no. Some weakness definitely coming through right now in this market. So, it's coming through, but you can see this DraftKings trade. Sorry, that's not DraftKings. This is DraftKings here. DraftKings came all the way in, and we got filled, and then it went all the way back up. So, not sure exactly what to expect right now from DKNG, but we're still sitting here, and we're going to be sitting here for a bit, waiting to see where this name wants to come back in. Hopefully, if the market does have a little bit of a tank city here, we'll get a piece out, more out of DraftKings. And with that note, you can see we've already hit Macy's nicely out. Our best out is only 28, man. We were waiting for 28 proper, like 28.20, some of these fills, but you can see now with this market, Tank City back inside. No idea where we're going to go from here, but Macy's, we're going to take one more piece out if we can get that. We'll see. DraftKings, okay. So we're short at 52 now. I do have a bid in the 30s again, 36. If that can come back in, we'll take that fill. And then we really do want to wait. We want to wait to see if we can get more down here. We've already visited down near 16 flat, 16.20 before. That's the low. I mean, if we can get that, that's fantastic. But we're just trying to be patient right now today, holding out hope for some of these trades. So DraftKings right now, a good one for us. And then Macy's, man, the proof is in the pudding on that name. What's up, Brendo?
Another one we were talking about briefly there, guys. Trying to get going here. D-Nut, Krispy Kreme, reported in the pre-market was better than expected. Looks like their call is underway, so a heads up 8% here for D-Nut. Trying to get back to 15 on a good report.
And open and halted again is that INDO. So shout out to Brenda. I think definitely mentioning that name. So hopefully someone's got this to the long side. It actually held up for like 3 or 4 minutes before halting at 726. And again, it's indicating a flat open. Obviously, it did open flat here and then ran. So not even gapping up. It's really just running to the upside when it opens. We talked about $8. On the 15-minute or the daily chart there. So when you zoom out, you find $8, and I think we might get that on the next open. That's pretty much the only level I'm going to be looking at for INDO. It's going to have to sort of be $8 or bust. Ooh, I forgot all about Home Depot a little bit. I'm not going to be I'm not going to be too angry with it, but Home Depot does give the rollover at the open. It never gave that 340 or 342 level I would have faded into, but it is down to 325. So Home Depot is screaming back in on the daily. I think we mentioned this level down here, about that 325 is a possible defense. If it breaks that, you're talking about 300. But the momentum, once it breaks and holds below that 200 period, unfortunately, a bit too much to overcome here for Home Depot, as it's getting crushed today.
Yeah. Oh, it's still, eh?
Oh yeah, it's 5.5%.
And I said, like, Home Depot, I don't know what they're supposed to do about anything, but obviously they're not doing enough. So we'll wait to see what Home Depot is all about there on that move. But yeah, so we're just, we're watching some of these names as we go. We did get out of our Macy's there, so that was a good trade. Out of Macy's, part of it anyways, it comes back up into 80s. Now we're going to wait for this 28 high. Actually, I'm going to cancel that in case we go higher. At least want to have something on. But just to give you guys an update, we only have like 5% left, so we got at 10. We took out a piece there. Now we'll go back up to the upside with Macy's. We'll see where this goes. So that's a name that we are looking at here, just making sure that we have all of our order books proper here as we go. It looks like it's fine. That's Macy's. Okay, so let's check in on Facebook. I also did want to look at Ford again as well. So Ford is another name that we can look at. There's Facebook bouncing nicely, guys, nicely off of its VWAP and its 50-period moving average. So if you're looking for a name, how about this name right in here? 204.60, 204.50 here for Facebook. Bounce, bounce, bounce as it just keeps on going up and down through those levels. So that's something to look at there for Facebook. And then AMC was a name that we haven't looked at yet. So let's have a quick look. I mean, if these futures go back down, we will be in trouble with our DraftKings. But so far, so good on DraftKings. I just wish it would have kept going down there. It did show some support in the 50 level, which I didn't think would be there if it did come back downside. But there's Macy's. Macy's. Here's AMC at a good level, man, 1750. It's surprising it went down to 1650. I wish I would have saw that. Missed it. But right there, 17, a great level of support now for sure. As we've touched 1650, came back in, retested some of these 617s. So I think now we can take this long. It's way up there now, but hey, if AMC pops back down, I do not mind a 17 long at all. But this is my biggest concern right here, and that is going to be DraftKings. I don't mind reloading. It's going to have to be a little bit higher. But again, didn't get enough out when it came back down. I told you we were bidding 33. We got the 33 fill, which was great. And we're short 53s. But again, hoping for this to come back in and retest at least that 17 level.
Yeah, and that's the thing, guys. You got to be at least a little bit patient with some of these plays. Like, AMD just there, and, I don't want to make the same mistake. AMD is a different stock from DWAC. I shouldn't necessarily be comparing them, but if I throw in like a break even on AMD at 116, I run the risk of getting sort of stopped out here, which I don't mind in a momentum name, which is going crazy like a DWAC. But in AMD, where the market's still holding above 14, I want to make sure we give this one some room. And it's the same thing with Roblox. Like we talk about sort of managing your expectations with some of these trades, but also giving them room to run. That broke the low. It's come all the way back into VWAP. It has to break out for me to be convinced. Relative weakness is down 4%. Even with the market bumping up, it couldn't break out. I just feel like it has to be shorted. And it's going to be the same thing with OCGN. At some point, if it keeps on doing this, it's going to likely break out at that 420 mark on OCGN. To now, it's been a good short every time you play off of it, but if it continues to hold this higher low, you could see a 420 break, and it's not insignificant. If Ocugen were to break out from here on the 15, this is what that level looks like. It's held 340 several times, so since making that high at 417, it actually retested the exact bottom at 340 and then gets the positive news here today. So if it's finally breaking out, it coincidentally also happens to be the 50-period moving average as well. There's a lot of reasons why Ocugen could actually start to go. So there's no holding it past that level. It's out at 420. That's an easy one for me there. And just sort of going from that AMD line into NVIDIA. Yeah, NVIDIA, like I said, I like AMD because of the relative strength. NVIDIA actually a little bit stronger on the chart. I'm going to hold on to AMD and hope the market and the chips continue to rise. But AMD, for all the signs of relative weakness, that's pretty much out the window. These are making power moves stronger than the overall market. If you like the longs in tech, the chips feel like they're the place to be.
Yeah, for sure. And wish I would have been long some of those chip names. We did talk about them, but again, not at the levels that we liked. But sometimes the levels can be wrong. So take that for what it's worth. Okay, just looking back here, Palantir back down to 11. So this is, let's see, is there size on Palantir at 11? Nah, not really. So that's something to look out for here with Palantir at 11. Not much size, but the bouncing spots have been low 90s. So if that can come in, we're just trying to be as patient as we can with a lot of these names. So here we go. DraftKings starting to get away from us. You see this nice little bump upside. I mean, not really. We just took that fill what we wanted that at 95. It's a big fill down there. So we're going to have to wait to see now where we go on DraftKings. It looks like it's starting to get really, really elevated. Our short, our average price now is 77. And we've taken winners on this name. But again, man, like DraftKings, if this market goes, I am just so surprised at how aggressive DKNG is. So very, very surprised at how aggressive this name is. Not one that we're going to really need to get stopped out on. We'll get stopped out on the trade, but not on our day. I don't know about 18.50 anymore. This is getting really close to 18. So, I mean, I'm just going to take out a piece here if I can in the mid 80s because this name looks a lot stronger than I had anticipated. So DraftKings right now, very, very close. I don't think I'll get it out, but if it does, and when it does, here it comes breaking 18s right now. This name is off right here. So we got to give this at least to 1850 now. But DraftKings, a big time runner to the upside, and we're wrong on this one. So let me think about what we're going to do. Macy's as well, back up to highs of 28 bucks. These futures definitely bouncing. I should have noticed it's 14,000, the key level that I've been giving you guys for weeks and weeks and weeks. We just bounced off there. So should have noticed that. That's obviously something I missed.
Yeah, I mean, with that strength in the market, I go right back over to the one that we missed this morning, which I guess was obviously a firm, right back to 38 even. So 37.97, the current high on a firm. Look, if it breaks 38, okay, fine. We'll definitely be out. And I think maybe people are considering like a breakout long in a firm. Not a horrible look on the higher time frame chart there, as I just tried to get 80s in there. Mid 80s, I suppose. I'm going to offer again. I don't want to have to chase this, but I'm going to try and get short here in the mid 80s in front of that 38 level. Play it back in. VWAP's 37. Like you're talking about $1 worth of a move there, and really because it's about $1 worth of a move, fine. I'll hit the bid for the first little bit here and actually have to pay down to 78. If I can get more shares in the mid 80s like I just wanted, I'll go ahead and do that. But the risk to reward is almost too good to ignore here on a firm. If the market does roll back, you know this is a name that can come back in. I know exactly where I'm wrong at 38 even. So we're going to play this one and see if we can't get it to work. I did want, PayPal. Again, like I know I wanted a PayPal long at 100. It's obviously gotten away. It's not just chip names that are strong. I mean, the market's moving to the upside. This has now gone green and looking like it's trying to sustain it. I'd love to see it form a better base than I think what we've already had here, but that could actually be at the breakout price at 102.5, 103. So any pullback into that range on PayPal, I'll look to see if it can consolidate. We did think it had a chance to make a bit of a bottom here today. Just thought it would be lower than this. Admittedly, thought the market was going to dip a little further than it did at the open before even attempting to find a low. Sometimes you're wrong, but you've got to adjust on the fly. If you've got good levels and know where you're wrong in the trade, you can still be okay. Like I said, just had to chase a firm a little bit there. Got the first fill at 78s. I will get some out on the way down to VWAP here. But 1-to-1 risk to reward would be only about 20 cents in the money. I'll look for something closer to 30 to 40.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's part of what we're doing, right, is like making sure that the risk and reward on a lot of these trades actually makes sense for us to take these on. So that's something that we're looking at all the time. And I just got to do that right now with one of these trades is figure this out. All right, so we did, and again, you talked about risk and reward. We did take a little bit off there as we came back into 93, 94 on DraftKings. It's getting a little bit away from us. If this market goes up, man, this will stop us out. So definitely an area of concern there. What else haven't we looked at today? I mean, what about PayPal? What's that doing? 104 and change. We looked at Square earlier as well. And shut out, guys. Thank you so much for everything. Hit the like button if you can. Square down to 98 bucks right now and still making a move to the downside here today. Obviously, we're positive, but a big move. It actually touched 96 today. That is Square. So this name definitely a little sick here as we go. So watch out for your shorts here on Square. If you take out this 98.60, that could be a level, but I'm more looking to go into the short on Square. I mean, it's been a bad name. If the market continues to make a move to the downside here, which right now, I say the word continue, but it's really sort of trending higher, man. These are now higher lows that we've put in. We put one in there, we put one in there, and it looks like we're trying to base out higher right now. So this is bad for the DraftKings trade, but maybe a good idea here for Square. Square. So we'll see if Square takes out this 98.50. Definitely a possibility. I talked about PayPal there as a tease. So let's just look in one more time here at PYPL as that one up more aggressive, which is not surprising. I mean, this one didn't break 100 yet, while Square did. So you can see PayPal here today, a nice move just now, taking out that top at 104. So giving you 50 cents worth of a win. Bottom here, 102. So you know what? I mean, we never call bottoms. That's crazy to talk about it. But that PayPal here, a couple days now, 102, 103, 104, seems to be holding out. But again, when the market's up and these stocks are up, you know, it just makes everything look a little bit better. So let's not like put, what do they say, put pig on a lip, or makeup on a lipstick on a pig. That's what I'm looking for. So I think that's what's happened.
Could.
Yeah, I think that is the saying. You know what? You could put lipstick on a pig. But the thing is, I feel like there is some, you know, sugarcoating of some of these names right now, and you're going to go over to another one, if that's what you're going to talk about, another name that needs to get sugarcoated.
Well, I actually made a keystroke on a firm. So anyways, I meant to put a bid in down in front of this 60 level, sort of moving away from the 37.50 as I got more shares in a firm and accidentally got out right on the bid. I just jumped right back in on the offer. So a little bit of an extra entry point there, the third entry. That's because I accidentally got some shares out, but the stop's still going to be at 38. I haven't traded too many of them without the exception of Ocugen here, which by the way is testing that 420. But it is time for the small cap recaps. Let's see what else is moving. Brendo?
Hey guys, yeah, busy morning so far. Small caps all over the place, moving around. This one included INDO, I mentioned. This is an energy stock, remember, so there's that. The other part of this, which I forgot to check in the pre-market, but did around here, is that it's 1.5 million shares. So teeny tiny float on this thing. So it gave you a couple of opportunities. 580, 550 up to 580 was a bit of a level. If you go back to the daily chart, top end of the range. Once it got above that though, so I took multiple attempts on the short side, quick scalps just in and out, basically that worked if you were quick enough. Eventually it does break the top. Once it did, bye-bye, all the way to $8. So it gave you multiple attempts at the short, and then if you did catch the long going into the halt or out of the halt on the resume, give you a couple of bucks to the upside for INDO. Let's go on. OCGN, I'll give you my take on it. 420, 440 on a daily chart. The key levels to the upside. I already gave you a few scalps to the downside. If you're trying to fade OCGN, we'll see what happens with that one. I wasn't expecting much out of Funware today, but it did give you a decent trade on the 350. I was holding 350 here in the pre-market. Once it gets below that, I mean down to 25, so 25 cent move, but very, very thick. Lots of liquidity for PHUN, guys. Back over to you.
Yeah, and we show you the winners. We show you the losers as well. So I'll do this one for a firm. You know, this is what's going to happen. Like you missed the first 38 on a firm, and it gives you like $1.50, whatever you would have wanted back in here on that short trade. Come in the second time, it's not usually going to be as good, right? So, you know, I still am going to play that level almost every single chance I see something like this. We went ahead and did it, and we're going to take the hit on a firm. Roblox still holding out pretty nice, I think. Even though it's trying to get and hold above that 48, we're still in the money on that Roblox trade, so no concern. If I hadn't already taken some profit, and I just typed in AMC instead of AMD, there we go. If I hadn't already taken some profit on Roblox, like 3 times separately, I would definitely be doing it here, as it is trying to trend back up, and this market continues to break out. We're on the march to 14.1 in the NASDAQ, and we're getting close to our target on that AMD. And again, the only reason that I'm looking at this in AMD is how clean the range was up here. So it does need to sort of take out 122 for a true breakout on the higher time frame, and I don't think I need to be that greedy. So my target sits here in between 120 and 122. You can pretty much guess what number that is going to be. Roblox might get stopped out there, but even if we do get stopped on Roblox, because we have taken profit, this is me actually typing New York for the first time, we can't lose on the trade. And the reason why you got to scalp some out is look at how tight the bottom is below that 50 level. The last thing you want is to get trapped at the low if this thing were to reclaim $50. So, you know, like I said, if it breaks the pre-market highs, I'll get out of Roblox here and then maybe look back at $50 as another level that we can play or at least trade around. DWAC, it's holding the range at least. That's about the best I can say at this bottom end. That 87 levels held, but it hasn't broke back above this 94, 95 range. So still a bit of a consolidation and wedge being formed here. Right now it sets up for a 95 break. Hold here any longer, and I think that could be the play on DWAC. Otherwise, I think you're waiting around for 85 to 87, which was good before.
Yeah, and right now we got to wait around a little bit on DraftKings because, yeah, this stock is off to the races against us right now. So DKNG continues to make a move higher, which is not good for us, as you know, because we are short DraftKings. So here comes DraftKings right back in one more time here on the short side of things. We have that 1850. We wouldn't talk about that level if we didn't mean it. So that's a level of concern for me. 1850 here for DraftKings coming through. So that's a level that we're looking at right now to see if that pops up. But, you know, until then, we have nothing to do here on DKNG. We did talk a little bit about Ford at one point there, as that was down low near 17. I mean, right now, really, my only concern is that DraftKings and possibly getting a little bit more short into that 60 level. So that is a little bit of a concern for me on DKNG. But for right now, upside Ford, we missed that at 1750, should have hit it. Let's average into that DraftKings. Our out's going to be 1860, I guess, 1855. So yeah, it does give us a little bit of space now to average back in on that name. So we do have DraftKings. We're ready to rock and roll with this name to the short side, plus an average in. So let's see if it works. But DKNG right now, upside not working at all. Look at Roku, though. We talked about, I said there was a couple undervalued names. Obviously, that's happened with Cathie Wood and sort of the massacre that has happened in a lot of these names. And you could see right here that this one more time, guys, Roku, nothing but love to the upside here. So if you can imagine getting long some names that you might like here with a little bit of value, Roku did have that 120 bottom. So that's definitely a spot to look into there for Roku. 120 bottom. Something to look at, or sorry, 100 bottom. Now 120 for the day. You know, the funny thing is, the NASDAQ is bumping like crazy a little bit. I mean, like crazy a little bit. But what about Tesla? Like, Tesla's still down on the day, man. So Tesla's still down. We have 1% here on the day. So Tesla hits that 850. It seems like it's right where we're at right now. But maybe a little bit of resistance here at 854 on TSLA. The market comes back down. Watch out for this Tesla trade.
Yeah, and another bounce back up here on Roblox. So, look, if it's going to fail again at that high, I'll go back to the well. This is probably the last time I get into it. Sort of, I guess, re-up on the trade, but we'll go right back to the well here. It allows me to scalp some shares off if it gets back to that 47.80 level, 47.75, whatever you want to call it, just a price range, and then continue to try to hold on to this for dear life. I'll go over to the last one which topped out, and again, if you trade off a level multiple times, eventually it's going to take it out. So you actually got higher lows here on the way up in Oxygen. First at $3.80 here in front of 75s, then at 90s in front of that sort of pre-market support level, and then it eventually broke to 420. I opted not to reverse into a long trade. Now that's just, I guess you could have if you looked at the higher time frame. I don't love the long in this name, so obviously I'm not going to do it here. I want to see. You know, I haven't made too many trades in DWAC, and I feel like this is the sleeping giant. AMD's a hold all day long. I'm trying to think Roblox can be as well. But DWAC still putting in higher lows, grinding towards this 95 level. So it's either it's either 85, 87, and hopefully we don't retest those lows and you can get a clean breakout at 95. But that's what I would like to see with DWAC here. The market is trying to pull back in, so I would say have a little bit of caution. And you know, we talked about Home Depot a little bit. It did make a bottom at 325, so much as you can call that a bottom. That's not much of a bounce. So this one still looks, I mean, ugly. Quite frankly, that's about the only word I can use for it. Like, you get a level like that on the daily chart on a stock like a Home Depot, and you say to yourself, yeah, well, if there's buyers in this range, you should shoot back up $5, $10 there, get a bit of a relief rally. Nope, that's not happening here on Home Depot. So I thought it was a fade off of 340, or 342, never even got that shot at the open. There's nothing to do. There's nothing that tells me that this level is worth defending at 325. So if it breaks that, maybe 320. Otherwise, Home Depot, this one's just going to have to settle down for a few days here because it hasn't been a pretty one for those earnings. And just coming back over to those chip names there, I'm in AMD, but I do think most people probably, I guess, are more excited by NVIDIA for good reason. I like the AMD because of the relative strength. NVIDIA now up 1% and screaming towards Friday afternoon highs, up at about 240, which is some obvious resistance. I mean, AMD is still $3 away, $2.50 away from my target. And NVIDIA, if you had a target similar, you'd be there in like $1. So as much as AMD is a bit of a winner, I guess picking it over NVIDIA is still a bit of a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, that's the other thing about this. Like, as if we know what stocks are going to be the ones that are going to win at some point, right? So, yeah, let's just be real with us here and see if we can't figure this out. AMD here, DraftKings. So this is another name that just came back in, and we actually got a hero fill down there at a great price, man. We actually got that 95 there. We bid 95s on DraftKings. It did come back in. Let's see if the futures can crash. I still think we can have a big winner here on DKNG today. We are waiting at 20 now. We weren't waiting there before. Our stop is still 18.50 on that one. So that's another name that we're looking for here with AMD coming back in with DraftKings. Hopefully AMD can stay up to the upside right there. Palantir still. So this is a name, obviously we love this name, and normally I'm all over it, but Palantir here, still at 11. I mean, it's still not doing much. We are still waiting for a dip down into 1090. If that can come, great. We do have bigger fish to fry, though, as you guys know here, with DraftKings, so that's coming through. What about SoFi? SoFi, another name that's right at 11 flat. Wow, it's only 10:30. I feel like it's later than that. SoFi coming down in here, minus 3%. And again, that bottom at 1075, still looking to take out some of the tops there. I know Neil's been on Roblox, but what about that new low that was just put in at 48 flat? I mean, this is another name here that if the market goes, man, I really know. I mean, the new low, 52-week low is 48 flat, but that's 47 flat. This is that 50 period that I'm talking about. Like, I really want this market to come in. So that's the first thing. I mean, I'm short. So I'm short DraftKings. That's going to be the big one. My Macy's trade, honestly, we can't keep saying it is what it is, but like that Macy's trade sort of is what it is right now. Up $1 in the money. We only have 5% left. So we're kind of letting that one fly. It's more this DraftKings trade that's got me. So we're waiting on this one to fade back in. I still have sights on, you know, like I said, the 50 period's up, so let's take some out at 70 if it can come in. But I still like to see 1750, and I'd still like to see 17, and I know that's easy. What we want to see may not happen, but I feel like DraftKings is weak, man, and I'm tired of this market. I mean, normally I'm all over the market going to the upside, but so far today, man, no idea what's going on. DraftKings upside, first time in 5 days DraftKings gone northbound.
So I'm going to come to SkyH in a quick second. First, I'm going to make an update here. We'll power up for another 50-cent scalp trade on Roblox. And again, going back to that well, but this SKYH, look, this is, oops, it's still on the Amex, Neil. I'd be careful with this. I put this in the chat. At $12, it gets really spicy. They're halted right now at 11.26 with an indicated open of about flat. But if you look at the sort of head and shoulders it put on Friday, like it spiked up, but both times on the way up, the first time and on the way down, 12 to 12.50 was all kinds of chop and a harsh rejection off of that level. So I would imagine this opens up and tests 12. If it breaks it, watch out. Look, if you haven't taken profit on this from $8, I don't know what to say. Always take your profit. The stock went from 16 to 8. Got cut in half on Friday. So if you haven't taken profit, I always say you can't go broke doing it. 12 to 12.50 is an obvious level of resistance that everyone and their mother is going to be looking at to be selling some shares. Could it break out? Sure. We've seen these things run before. But if there's lines in the sand that you want to make obvious, I think that's going to be one there. I haven't paid for the short, so you won't see me hunting a short on this name. But I think a lot of other people that look at the same levels are probably thinking, let's line up for the shorts there. And INDO, whoops, I don't even know what AF is. I don't know how I just typed that in there. But INDO was the other one that Brennan brought to our attention here. That's already come back in a little bit. If this ever wants to load up, it's actually trading below that $7 mark. It couldn't take out 8. So remember, as quickly as these come up, they can come back down. The NASDAQ just rejected 14. That probably means, and yep, it does mean it, Roblox headed right back to those lows. I'm trying to hold that one all day. Brendan?
I just saw this one back on volume here as well, guys. SoFi now 4% once again. So we got back to 11, and it just gets rejected there. So a big sell order came in on SoFi. I mean, overall, just kind of chopping around within its range at the moment. But a heads up on SoFi. Let's get a quick check on how things over in Europe are shaping up so far today. It was quite red to start. How are we doing, Ms. V?
Hey, Brandon, European markets are back to the positive territory, slightly up. Car makers Volkswagen and Porsche both are up around 10%, following news that they're in talks about potential IPO of Porsche. Back to you.
Yeah, pretty choppy so far in North America, guys. But hey, it's a positive day so far.
It is, and we like positive days, and why not? And especially when it's coming back in right now for us. So there's another bid right there at 95. So we are short now 91. Look, we've been taking hits. Every single piece of these that come out are hits because our average price is lower than this, right? So now at some point, though, we have to hold out hope that this does come back in. So we're going to do that right now and hold out hope that DraftKings comes back in. No other bids now, guys, until I don't even have any bids, but I think 1770. We should put one in and then have a look at that. I'm still looking for more ideas. I mean, what about Microsoft's at 290? Have we broke through 290 yet today on Softy? Yeah, we did early up to 291. Now we're just bouncing off of that. Let's see. I mean, right now, I just need these futures to come back down. If that happens, then we can start to dance and celebrate. So if that happens, it's DraftKings. It's the only name that we have on. Check out Palantir here. Maybe we'll cancel that bid because if this market does, let's cancel it. If the market does scream, man, we don't want any Palantir either. So let's get this to the downside, see if this can retrace and just hold on to our DKNG and see if there is anything on this short. I mean, it's just the one that I'm looking at here. We've already failed on the upside here at 1820. I feel like this name should not be up 3% when the market is only up 0.3, just like SoFi. So let's see, kicking it back down here. Let's see if DraftKings can go lower, lower, lower. Bid 75.
And open here on SKYH. It does a pump through $12. So it opened at $11.50, does a pump through $12, gets to $12.25, and now is making a bit of a reversal. Now, if you're bullish on it, it's still held the whole price of $11.25, so it has a chance to go. But sort of as I kind of expected there, like on that 15-minute chart, you pulled up Friday's action, and that's where the resistance was, trying to take out that 12 even. It's probably going to have to do a heck of a volume spike, hold 11.25 to chew through a level like that, where you're definitely going to have some sellers. While this was going on and the market rejected 14.1, Roblox here, which is on the New York, you're not going to get me this time, still holding a higher low at 47.50. I don't see any reason not to continue to hold on to this trade, but at some point, I need us at least testing 47 down at the bottom, and got to go back over to a firm just to show you. I took the stop out at 38. I didn't get back into this one with the market looking as strong as it was at that particular point. You're going to see it's back into VWAP, but that's still an upward trend. So higher lows and an upward trend. I'm not going to fight this. I think Roblox is of the two relatively weaker at this particular point. And going back over to one name which I've kind of been ignoring since the pre-market with some scalp trades in Funware, this is making no effort to get off the bottom. So if another leg gets taken, downside on DWAC, Funware is going to 3, and there's pretty much nothing stopping it. There's just been pretty much no bounce on this name all the way down here. So relatively weak in Funware. The volume's pretty good. There just has not been any buying to support it. AMD, like I said, I'm going to give that one some room here as the market is still trying to hold up. And lastly, I think you mentioned SoFi a little bit there, Sean. Mm-hmm. It did try to take out that pre-market high. I liked it for a rollover at the open. It then came late at 10:30 to give you another shot at it. I'm backing away. I think you can still defend 10.50 if it gets down to that price. Otherwise, I'm going to stay away from SoFi until it tries to settle down a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know. I think this market, I mean, we're one headline away, man, from like something disastrous happening, either to the up or to the downside. Like, I just feel like we've already now taken in consideration Jay Powell. So I think we've already taken in consideration the Fed and what they're doing and what we expect to come in less than a month with the double rate hike coming. I mean, double. It's 50 basis points. Going to be one call there is what people are thinking. So, and you know what I mean by we're one headline away now has to just be Russia, right? So, I mean, I'm not scared of the Fed anymore. We know what's happened. Bullard sort of yapped his way through last week, and then now we'll wait to see. We already had the minutes come out, and then now we just have waiting around to see if Russia does tip the scales here. Like like I said, we're one or two headlines away from this getting out of hand here. So. Let's go over to Valeria. What's up, Val?
Hey guys, we've got a super chat from Worldwide Imports 2652. Neil, are you holding AMD till the end of the day?
Well, ideally, yes. But I mean, there's no such thing. Like, if AMD goes to 110, am I holding? And I'm long at 116 here. So, and my target was 121. So obviously, like, there are levels. If I'm trying to take $5 and I'm not really risking more than I'm not going to risk 5 in the first place, but I certainly wouldn't be risking that much anyways. If it gets back below that opening range bottom, like a 115, that's a level I would defend. But it's still in a nice upward trend. The chips have been relatively strong. Remember, we talked about some of the headline risk and some of the risk with Russia-Ukraine flowing into the chip names, and that I kind of thought that logically anyways, we'll see if logic even matters here, that any sanctions would look to not exacerbate what is already a supply chain issues and a chip shortage. So to that degree, I think you're betting on cooler heads prevailing, or at least maneuvering any sanctions in a way that would somewhat not hurt the chips too much. So that's why I like the long in AMD. It was up when all the other names were down. That's why I looked for it. And it also gave me a chance at that breakout at 116. But I do have a target at 121 on the 15-minute. Just throw it up here. Like, this is the top end from last week. That's where I'd like to see it get to. So either it gets there or it breaks 115. And that's the line in the sand. Does it mean I could hold it all day? It's certainly possible it takes all day for that type of a move, so I would be willing to do that. But I do have conditions on this trade. If it breaks 115, I'm out, and I would look for another long, probably closer to 110 at that particular point. And it's the same thing with Roblox. I'd like to hold it all day long, but if it takes out the high, I'm going to have to get out. Yeah,
I mean, in net, we went into the money there on DraftKings, but then it comes right back in, and now we miss it. So DraftKings comes right back in to 18, 17. It went as low as 83. I told you we were bidding 75s there, so almost got it out as that's looking to make its way back up to the upside. We did quickly talk about Facebook there. I think that there's a level now, right here. Why not? 204.50, right? This should come into play at some point today. Again, even right now, if you like to go long in this market and you think we're bouncing right here off of the 50 period, which it looks like it, this is not a horrible trade at all. 204.50 here on Facebook. For me, I'd rather get above this 205 and change, but if you are holding Facebook right now, I think there's some potential for this spot right here, 204.50 on Facebook to come through. So watch out for that. If it breaks and the futures start to tank, then that's a great short, man. 204.50 downside, using this as your stop, 205.50, especially this market cracks lower, you're definitely going to want to be short here, Facebook. So get ready to rock and roll. 204.50 coming out right now for Facebook. I think I'll take this one actually to the short side. But with that being said, without any further ado, it's Mr. Wickens on the ones and twos on the big board. Kill him with kindness, my friend.
Hey guys, yeah, quick look at the overall market here, the S&P 500. Back and forth we go. Standing here, it goes positive, and then negative, and positive, and then negative. A lot of individual movers kind of offsetting each other again. Overall, the consumer discretionary group and the healthcare group kind of battling it out as far as strength and weakness so far today. That's Home Depot. That's Best Buy right beside it, getting dragged down 3.25%, 6% for Home Depot. It's been a long time since Home Depot had that kind of a move. There's AMD, Micron down here. Some of the chip names having a nice bounce back day, even with some possible negative headlines coming through. There's NVIDIA. I saw it earlier. 1% for NVIDIA in positive territory as well. Worth noting, Moderna, 3% higher on the day. Some of the vaccine names bouncing back on positive news for, I'm trying to think who it was right now. I can't remember, but I'll get back to you on that. But Moderna, yeah, 2.93% back to the upside. So healthcare stocks definitely in positive territory. DXDM, MDT, both earnings 3.5% and almost 5% there for DXDM. Financials are strong, materials strong as well. CF leading. Far corner over there, consumer staples to the downside so far. Where's the energy group? Here it is. There are some positive names here for the energy sector, even though oil remains under pressure. Apache, PXD, and MPC down about 1%, leading as far as decliners are concerned. But overall, as I said, back and forth we go. Now red, once again, 0.1 for the S&P, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, there was just a pullback in the NASDAQ. I mean,
there was that story, but nobody knows.
Okay, so head of Russia's upper house of parliament says Putin asked for permission to use troops abroad. What does that mean? Russian Senate to vote on sending troops outside Russia. Have they not already done that? Anyways, I'm just sort of reading a headline there. But in the midst of that pullback, you're not exactly seeing oil shoot back to the upside. So we're in the J contract, but that's not much of, I mean, again, we're heading back toward those lows. So bit of a weird reaction back to 14,000 on the NASDAQ on that headline. The ES pulling back like about 25 handles as well. And oil deciding to not bounce at all. So whatever, that doesn't really make any sense to me. So I'm not going to change too much of my plan, but that's worth noting. Big move back down in the markets here.
Yeah, and I say, here we go, as Randy says, here we go all the time. But here we go, back to the downside right now. Let's see if this can work for us. Yeah, big time movement here back in on the market. You're seeing some printing here on DraftKings back in, so hit that to the downside. Hit Facebook right now. You know, we're in the money. We talked about this. I'm thinking about, let's just bid some 25s there on Facebook. I did have a 204 flat out there. We just stopped a little bit. We should, there it is. Yes, sir. We'll take a little bit of advantage there as we start to drop some bombs here in the market as the shorts are now coming in here. So there's a nice little victory for us on Facebook. That's 20 cents. We are waiting for more, so hopefully that can come through. Brendan, you got something else, bud?
Be careful here, guys. There's a press conference about to start as well. It looks like President Putin going to hold a press conference apparently right now. So there might be more comments to come.
Yeah, so
all right, we'll take it. I'll take it.
If you're trading an oil name, I mean, you're going to want to watch out there. I can't imagine what he's going to say that would make the market.
You might not want to trade said oil name.
That's what I'm saying. Like it might get pretty wild there. So you know, just be careful. If you have good entries and good levels, that's why I'm not really forcing anything. Like Roblox and AMD, I'm not really trying to force anything. Maybe a small cap that I can get into that's not going to follow the market there. Biden's going to be speaking at 2. As well, so you might want to mark that one down. We have 15 minutes, so we're throwing you to Trader Pratt and Ms. V because this time is flying by, and you get the Putin headline or press conference. We'll have Biden at 2 o'clock. We'll be back at 2 o'clock as well. So I do expect things to continue to be wild here, but just make sure you're trading things off of key levels. The other place you can go to for some trades, which might not move as much with the same type of headline risk as the overall market, would be your DWACs and your funds. I still haven't seen anything that gets me into this. It looks like we're retesting the bottoms and maybe getting back to that 85 to 87 level. So the 95 break is definitely being put on hold here. We talked a little bit about AMD. For me, holding on to it. Roblox, I don't have, AMD I have a target, I should say, but Roblox, if we take out that low, it's really just 45 because you know, you're having a breakdown here from 50 even, and there's no levels to work off of, right, on the daily chart. So I'm just looking at that $5 range. If it gets to 45 even, that's probably where I'd like to hop on the bid and consider getting out. If I see size on that bid, there's no way I'm going to look that gift horse in the mouth. I think that would be absolutely crazy. We did talk about SoFi a little bit. We did not. Well, you probably talked about Macy's. One that we did not talk about, well, we mentioned once, and then I got away from it. Yeah, DWAC and Truth coming. Twitter under some pressure here today. And look how good that 34 has been. So it's been holding that 34 resistance level pretty much all morning long. Just barcoding, though, showing you a 15-minute. Look at this. Like, it's just giving you 50-cent scalp trades off of 34. So what I'm doing on Roblox probably would be working on Twitter. Just not as exciting of a trade, but it's worth noting 34 obvious resistance. We thought it might be true. It's just 100% true at this point. But that works in both ways, right? You got a flush in the afternoon in DWAC, and the market tried to rebound, while Twitter could have a shot to break back out. But for now, 34 looks like a pretty good level on Twitter. Just haven't been able to trade it yet. It's still not breaking in either direction, though.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're just sitting. I mean, we got that headline a little bit there. Now, you know, Russian Senate voting. Brendan Koch talked about it. We talked about Biden speaking at 2 p.m. That doesn't matter. That doesn't bother me. It's more about whatever Putin has to say, obviously, as we know who the big dog is. So that's sort of what I'm concerned about, is going to be any sort of talk that comes from that side of things, right? So let's wait to see what now happens with Russia. And honestly, DraftKings was just about to fall, and then it came right back up. So good thing we got something out there at 89 or 90, and then another piece at 83, like we said we were sitting at. So DraftKings right now should be a hell of a lot better, but it's not for me. So we're going to have to wait to see what happens now on DKNG. Wish it was a little bit better. All right, Facebook is still below the 50-period moving average, so I like it. We are still short. We already took out that 20 pennies or whatever it was on a third of the trade, so a third of the trade out, 20 pennies. Now let's see if we can't get some more love back in on Facebook. So that's another name here that we are waiting for. I'm going to average in. If we break higher, fine. But that's one thing that I wanted just to mention to you guys, because I want to short and average into this short. So right now, 205. I mean, I got to flip my out though, because I'm not holding it past this marker, so past the 50 period, which is now 205.25. So that's a marker that I'm looking for right now on Facebook. 205.25 as my out. We'll average into the short. Got to switch some of those stops now. Still think the short is in, man. I don't mind averaging into DraftKings. It's just, it's been getting wild. We're waiting for a 20 to come up on DraftKings. That's where my average is on that. And then other than that, man, I guess I can cancel my AMD at 110. That's not coming through. And then we have Ford down at 1730. Where's that coming in to be?
Stuff like that.
Right, 17. Yeah, well, maybe AMD is coming in at that level. I'm not sure, Neil. I think you'll be fine with your long. And then we'll cancel our Ford at 1730. But again, anything lower, there are some nice levels in case this market crashes and we're not on the air. So hopefully you've been paying attention to some of these. As there goes Facebook now back down to 204. So let's go, man. This market crashes. We have Facebook target $1, 203.50.
Yeah, and like this sentiment might make me. I don't want to put a break-even stop on AMD, but it's at this point, if we actually break these lows and can't hold 14, losing on the last of that trade doesn't make sense. One name that's been screaming to the upside and hasn't slowed down till maybe now is Roku, up 12%. If you go back to the gap last week when it got absolutely crushed on earnings, you did have a 128 bottom. So if you think you like the notion of support turning into resistance or that kind of a thing, that's my huckleberry. So we just turned at 127 up top here. If it retests that high, I think 128 would be that out, and then look for that one to give a little bit back here. I mean VWAP's giving you $6 or $5.50 here, which is a lot of room as it extends away from that price. I think at some point it has a big pullback, especially if this market starts to come back in, right? Like if we pull back. Play red on the NASDAQ and hold it. We're back and forth going red to green on the NASDAQ. But if it holds, I think a Roku is going to have to give something back here, as strong as it has been. But either way, 128 is the only level I could look at. So I ignored 125. I ignored all these other prices. I think 128 has got to be that top where I could try digging in. We were talking about Ocugen. It's continuing its breakout. Once it was above 420, like that was not just the out for me. I said I didn't want to go long. When you throw in the fact that it was also the 50 period, I'm kind of kicking myself. You had a multi-day high break on that 420 level. So it was a good out, good level to get out. But now looking at it, and the trend is pretty undeniable, I think you're almost sitting it out till $5 when I look at this a bit deeper, which meant I should have gone to the long trade. Roblox will continue to do it, but it just broke 47. So the bottom has now broken, and looks like the floodgates could start to open up. For now, it's been a good one, but it hasn't really extended out of this range. And with the market now coming back in, it does feel like Roblox 45 could certainly be in play here. And that probably doesn't bode well for Home Depot, which we said just nothing about this looked like it was defensible, and it's getting even uglier, now down to 323. I mean, imagine, it's not crazy, but we could actually see Home Depot maybe at some point down 10%, and I haven't found a way into a short here. There's just no level I like to defend. Like, if it would have to be 330 at this point. So, I mean, a 323 entry doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. It would have to give me some kind of a bounce here, but getting pretty ugly for Home Depot. I mean, I guess it's already been ugly.
Yeah, Home Depot, I mean, they just didn't come with the heat, unfortunately, for everybody today with Home Depot. Look, you have the right name on Roblox. Like, I kind of feel like DraftKings and Roblox are almost in the same category here, but DraftKings wants to keep going upside. So, yeah, another Cathie Wood stock that I'm going the wrong way on here. Like, I just want to woodshed all these stocks, but it does look like DraftKings says no thank you to that, and now is just waiting to see what happens next. So, DraftKings just took another short at 10s or 11s, sorry. Averaging this price in. Here comes the market to the downside. This is what we're talking about. We like this a lot. We just need it to come through now. So DraftKings, everything to the downside. Hopefully now we'll see if it can come through. But for now, DraftKings, a nice reload. We'll take it. There goes Facebook. Facebook now through 304. So we have the short on this one. So a nice little name. Now here it comes back in. Facebook getting super aggressive now to the downside. So where's my bid, man? I'll just take this. I was waiting at 60. If we can get a 68, for some reason I just put my bid there at 68. Doesn't fill, but that's where we're bidding now on Facebook. A super aggressive move down in. A good opportunity to take. Wow, look at that. We just put it out. Like, I just sort of marketed it out, but unfortunately I didn't want to get out of everything, so I had to adjust my default there. Mistake there. But there comes Facebook. Downside, 70 cents in the money on that one. And then DraftKings trying to push, man, back down into the 90s right now. Let's take some bids out here as well. Brendan, though, over at the big screen for one last time. It's Crypto Watch, but what is this called? Money Talks on the big board with Brendan.
Yeah, busy day day, guys, in currency land. It's kind of a wait and see type of day for currencies, but overall the US dollar was higher to start. We're back to negative territory, but only just. So everything else, either higher slightly or little changed really. The euro up 0.3 leading the way as far as gainers, 0.1 or 1.13. Canadian dollar was red actually at one point, back to 0.1 to the upside. British pound to the downside. These two bouncing today on some volatility, but overall relatively unchanged. Both Australia and New Zealand back to the upside. Bitcoin, worth noting, finally, this is a daily chart, finally a green day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days straight to the downside for Bitcoin. So we're trying to hold and bounce off of 37 and 36.5 back higher again. But what a wild ride it's been for Bitcoin over the past couple of days, guys. Back over to you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the entire market coming under some tremendous pressure as we speak. I'm very close to, come on, just give me that fill. Oh, that was so close on Roku there. I was about to say I was very close to getting filled on Roku. I'm going to actually have to chase this one a little bit. We're now firmly below that 14. So I did want to get into this name off of those highs. Maybe we just have to give it a little bit more room. At this point, look, if it's 121 VWAP we're seeing here, like that's $4 from here. Halfway is $2. So, to be willing to risk a couple of bucks to that high is reasonable from a risk to reward standpoint. I would have preferred getting 26s, but if it has to be 125 half, and that's what it's going to be here. Super strong stock, but if I can find something I like into that short trade off of a defined level, that's what we're going to do. And I know we should have been, Goldman saying, yeah, I should have been shorting Home Depot. Having a buy sometimes just isn't enough. You also have to find a trade. I didn't find a trade in Home Depot as much as I thought there might be some shorts. It's not the same thing as finding an entry point, finding a good exit, those types of things. That's what it's all about. We talked about Tesla being relatively weak. Not that strong to the downside right now. Like it's testing 840. But as the market rolls back, it feels like the sellers in Tesla have already come through. So relatively speaking, kind of boring here on Tesla. AMD, just checking back in, my only long. It is holding above 116. So for now, this one looks okay. But at this point, there's no way I want this reclaiming too far past that 116 and turning that into a losing trade. The market sentiment has clearly changed with now 2 events that we have to worry about. Possibly pushing us to the downside. One, It's currently right now with Putin talking, and then again at 2 o'clock with President Biden, which, that could also possibly send the markets to the downside. I can't imagine what they'll say that would be good at this point.
Other than like a withdrawal of troops, but I don't think he's going to say that. Okay, so there it is, man. Good trading so far today. So we'll do our first one of the day. Bang! Here as we're, finally starting to feel the downside here a little bit in the market as we did take down that 14,000 brought to you by Putin. So we'll wait to see where it goes from here. But look, if it doesn't keep down ticking, that's why we got out of Facebook. So there's a $1 win there. Well, we got out at 68, like I said, but we are short at, what am I short at? 40. So about 80 cents to the downside. We are waiting still, man, still aggressively waiting for DraftKings. As here it comes, yeah, there it is. A nice bid downside. DraftKings just punches us in or out at 90 there. We're layering the bids on DraftKings. I want a lot lower than this though, guys. So let's see if it comes through. Brendo.
All right, so the major comments so far, guys, coming from this conference with President Putin once again is that he has officially signed recognition of the independence of the 2 states in Ukraine, Donbass, I believe they're called, as independent. So that's official now as far as Russia is concerned, and saying that Russia will protect those as separatist states. So we'll keep an eye on what's coming from that conference to come. While I have you, let's get a check on what's to come tonight and tomorrow morning. Still lots of earnings to get through.
That's a lot. Okay, so I guess we haven't talked cybersecurity in a while. So Palo Alto, I thought it's.
Oh my God, Lowe's is over there. We saw what happened to Home Depot today. That's definitely a name to look at there. Agilent in the top left. Other than that, there's not. I know Brandon said there's a lot of names. Look at Caesars in the bottom right there. We'll see if.
Watch out for $8 on Virgin Galactic though.
Yeah, $8. Oh, they reported? They reported? Okay. So Virgin Galactic dead. I don't even see them on here even now, but that's a name definitely to watch out for. Virgin Galactic, one to look out. Okay, market's still coming to the downside. So, hey, man, we're close to at the highest spot we've been at all day, which is pretty good. So we'll just sit here and wait. Facebook now 80 cents in the money, making new lows now. Besides the low of the day, I like this Facebook low. Let's see how much we can hold this. And then, right now, DraftKings, I like this this trade a lot, and I know I've been talking a lot about it today, but again, to the downside. I don't like it as much as I did before, but if this market crashes, like I really feel, obviously we're on the wrong name, because if I was short anything else right now, I mean, I could just, like, what's Palantir doing? What's Roblox doing? Like, so yeah, look at this. Like, I've been short this whole freaking day on DraftKings and it hasn't come in, so I feel like I'm owed it. So although the market owes you nothing, you know, I don't know why DraftKings is holding up. So that's what I'm getting at. So this may be a wrong stock, but again, man, your boy, the People's Trader, picks the wrong stock today to short in this market. We had it perfectly, just wrong stock there, DraftKings. Let's pick another Cathie Wood name next time.
This, if there's, you know what, we do a segment in the afternoon, and I'm pretty sure if I don't pick Rivian as my frustrating stock of the day, then I absolutely should. Forget about Home Depot. Rivian had a double top at 71 that we shorted just on Thursday, but the lower high off that level was 69. Where do you think it popped to? Right to 69 today, and then did a hard right turn as the market came back in for a clean. And look at right to the bottom of the range that it had been in. Sometimes these levels, stocks are respecting these levels pretty well, and you got to be able to play them when you see them. There was so much to look at here today, and there's one more thing we got to do. We got to head on to Miss V to find out what national day it is.
Hey guys, it's a busy morning so far. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for all the support, guys. And please, I remind you, don't forget to like this video. We need just 200 more likes to get to 2,000. Join Prad and me to continue this trading day, and happy National Margarita Day.
All right. Yeah, a little bit too cold here for margarita.
It's a weird one, man.
But
well, I mean, it's because it's February, so you can be on vacation somewhere where you can get a margarita.
That's the whole point,
right?
Yeah. Or if you want to go to, well, we're now open. I just had the caramel candy. Neil reminded me that it was sitting there all day. So shout out to Tony the Tiger. Shouldn't have it when you're trying to talk, but margarita's good one. I prefer the lime margarita.
You know what? There's actually not a bad one, but yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like look, what you're drinking when it's hot out. So like,
if you can get a mango one,
well,
mango would be nice.
You didn't throw down mango as a flavor for just about anything. Yeah. I'm going to be all over
That's
it
true,
there.
Yeah.
But you can. I don't think you can go wrong. Just make a nice little picture, enjoy it, have some fun with that. With only 1 minute to go, we are going to be throwing you to Trader Pratt and Miss V. I will sort of update Roku. There was a wick off top on Roku, so that 128 we pointed out in the 15-minute chart, it goes right to that price. Put the wick off top. You know, I did try to get more shares, but it's not going to happen. At this point, we got our short on the consolidation, and we're going to play it back into VWAP. But it's been a wild one in this market. Like we said, the headline keeps coming through with Putin talking, and so far, it's basically heading us southbound. So that AMD, I might not be in it all day long, but at least we picked up the Roku short, and we might be in Roblox all day long. There's nothing you can do about it here. The headline risk is just sort of here to stay at this particular point.
Yeah, DWAC, so some people want to talk about DWAC a little bit. Why not? Come on, let's go DraftKings. You know what, I've had enough of you. Bang, $1.20 right now in the money. Let's spin our favorite thing ever. You guys wanted the energy. There it is. It's back right now. As here we go, DraftKings to the downside finally, you POS. And then there goes Facebook right now as well. Finally ticking lower, man. That's $1.50 now in the money while bouncing around. It was just $1.50. We just touched 203 flat there on Facebook. So $1.40 that was. And then look, man, the only trade that I have as a loser today is, well, we're holding DraftKings. That's been a loser. But DWAC, we haven't traded many names, which is my plan. But, I mean, it takes the 100 off. And I should have known this was a problem in the pre-market. Should have got out right away when that took that out. But we were able to get some out at 99. So for $1 hit, and then the big hit right there as it crashes through, and I don't have quotes. Thank God this filled actually at 95.50. We tried it one more time at 92. We got out at 94 before it dumped right back to where it is right now on a break of that bottom level, 89. We got out at 88. So again, it's going to be net like down $3 or $4, or actually $6 or $7 probably on DWAC today. So not a great trade. It's only been to the downside. Honestly, the only level that I could really talk about here is, and we're past 11, so we're going to go in a minute, it's just 86 right here. 86, it kept breaking and resisting 86 a whole bunch of times. And then you're looking today, man, the bottom today has been 86. I mean, obviously we did wick lower, but you know, the bottom's been 86 today. So if you're going to respect any level, it's going to be that one. And I just got to get out of my DraftKings. Like it just went 10 cents in the money and then flow right back upside. So DraftKings still bothering me.
Yeah, and it's past 11 o'clock, so you know what we got to do. We got to head you guys on over to Trader Prad and Miss V.
Let's do this.
Something needs to happen this week. You know exactly what I'm talking about, Brad.
Hey, guys. Welcome to Tuesday. It is time for Market Movers. How's everyone doing? And I hope everyone's having a great day so far. I'm having a great morning. Can't wait to see how much more money I can put in my pocket. How about yourself, Miss Wee?
Awesome. Can't wait to see your trades, Pratt. Thank you for asking. Yes, pretty much great. Had a long on Tesla. Profitable day so far. Welcome, guys. Please, as usual,